Hello, very good morning to all of you, and welcome to this class of the Economy Foundation course. I hope you can all see and hear me. This class is starting at 11 because I had to come to Old Rajendra Nagar today, and with the traffic and fog situation, it is almost impossible for me to reach by 10 a.m. So that's why we start at 11. It's only on these days. Hope you can all see and hear me. If you can see and hear me, please write yes in the chat, and we'll get started. अरे नहीं है वीडियो ऑफ, आप प्लीज रिफ्रेश करो. एवरीवन एल्स कैन सी एंड हियर. वो चैट प्राइवेट है इसलिए आपको दिख नहीं रहा है, बट एवरीवन एल्स कैन सी एंड हियर. द वीडियो इज नॉट ऑफ, है ना. सबका ये सारा है. इवन इट्स वर्किंग ऑन माय फोन. आई विल जस्ट आल्सो चेक ऑन माय फोन. जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. आज हम एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीज पढ़ने वाले हैं. एक्चुअली we are going to read a very interesting thing. We are going to read international economics, and we are actually going to understand how exchange rates work. Yeah, it's working on my phone. So आपने देखा होगा अभी रिसेंटली न्यूज में भी बहुत ज्यादा ये चीज आ रही है दैट डॉलर इज स्लिपिंग, डॉलर इज अप्रिशिएटिंग, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. We will see how that happens. We will see that entire process. But before that, we have to finish a few things in taxation. So a couple of things in taxation we have to finish. Taxation में एक दो और भी चीजें हैं, but that I will teach you tomorrow with international tax, with international economics. Tomorrow I think will be our last class. Now, let's start. देखो, taxation. Taxation में we were reading tax evasion. Tax evasion. Somebody, they don't want to pay tax. What will they do? We were reading this concept of tax evasion. In this concept of tax evasion, we will now read how companies avoid tax. How companies avoid tax. And अभी तक अगर आपको taxation में मजा आया है, if you have enjoyed something like whatever the things we have read with regards to taxation, of how taxes are there, the bucketing system, the GST idea, the idea of input tax credit, etc., etc., then I would really recommend that you read up more about the Indian Revenue Service. So जब हम अपनी सर्विस की सिलेक्शन करते हैं, we generally think that this is the general mindset that IS is the best service, etc., and to some extent I agree to this also. But also what matters is, एक होती है public perception, and that is important. Public perception is important of which service is good, which service is not. But it's also important for you to go as per your own aptitude, right? So अगर आपको इन चीजों में मजा आता है, you were enjoying this so far. अभी मैं आपको tax evasion के तरीके बताऊंगा, and I will also tell you the divisions of the income tax that work in these things. Then you can probably think more about putting IRS income tax higher in your preference list, or IRS customs and GST higher in your income in your service preference list. So the Indian Revenue Service basically is divided into two divisions. One of these divisions is called the IRS income tax. Now this division only looks at direct taxation, right? It looks at direct taxation. So income tax, corporation tax, etc. This is the job of the IRS income tax. So the things that we are going to read now in tax evasion, what we are going to read now is how companies avoid corporate tax. How companies avoid corporate tax. This is what we are going to read. So this is also something that the IRS income tax would do, right? The other division here is customs and indirect taxes. Now this customs and indirect taxes looks at various things which are related to indirect taxation. Like we were seeing customs duty. We will also read customs duty tomorrow in terms of international tariffs, protectionism, trade war. ये सारी चीजें भी हम पढ़ेंगे कल. Customs and indirect taxation will first look at these customs rules, and then they will also look at indirect taxation, which is basically GST now. So this is how the IRS is split, and these are the two jobs that the IRS is performing. So this is the broad concept. So if you are enjoying this now, you can, sorry about this, you can find this good, you can not find this good, that's totally up to you. But if you do find it good, then putting IRS higher on your list might be a good option, right? तो कल हमने जहां से छोड़ा था वहीं से कंटिन्यू करेंगे. वहीं से कंटिन्यू करते हैं. Now, what was my post is not important. My post was the same post where everyone starts. When you join the IRS income tax, you start as something called assistant commissioner. This is the post for all services. If you join the police, you will start as assistant commissioner of police. If you join the IRS income tax, you will start as assistant commissioner of income tax, ACIT, assistant commissioner of income tax. If you join this, you will join as assistant commissioner of indirect tax. So everyone starts at this post. When you enter the civil services, all civil services will start at assistant commissioner post. Anyway, let's read from uh, where we were reading yesterday. Just 1 second. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, 1 second. Yesterday we were reading all of this. We now had to read the last part, which was this. We had read about GST compensation cess. Now we had to read about this. Now we know that companies will pay tax on profits. Companies generally pay tax on profits, right? So a company will do certain expenditure, right? Company will do certain expenditure, and from that expenditure there will be certain profits, and on these profits the company will pay tax. Now we are going to read various things related to companies avoiding tax paying or companies evading tax payment. Let's see what that is. Let's see. Now there is, let's say there is a company called Amazon. Amazon has its base in the USA. Amazon is also doing certain business in India. When Amazon does its business in India, it will make certain profits. Now, these profits have been made in India. Amazon has done its business here, and Amazon has made certain profits here. Now, one thing that Amazon can do is either register these profits in India, or they can say that these are actually the profits of our parent company, which is Amazon USA, and say that the business might be done in India, but the actual profit is in USA, because the companies from USA, they just have a branch in India, and that branch is making profit, right? Now, what which place, according to you, in which place should Amazon be taxed? Should Amazon be taxed in India, or should Amazon be taxed in USA, or both? So in India is option 1, in USA is 2, and both is option 3. Where should they actually get taxed? Where should they get taxed? अगर आप बोलोगे that they are getting taxed in India, तो वो कहेंगे ये तो हमारी ब्रांच है. अब हमारा बायस है, because we are all Indians, we of course love our country, so that is why we are saying this should be in India. If an Indian company is doing business abroad, Infosys is doing business in USA, Wipro is doing business in USA. Now, when Infosys is doing business in USA, will you say that the tax should be paid in USA, or will you say tax should be paid in India? Right. So to solve this problem, this is a difficult problem to solve, right? So to solve this problem, a concept came called double taxation avoidance agreement. If you say both, which now seems like the most logical answer, if you say both, now Amazon is getting taxed both in USA and in India. Amazon is getting taxed here also, Amazon is getting taxed here also. This creates a problem. So there was something called double taxation avoidance agreement. So for example, this agreement will not be involving a company. This will be between two countries. So India and USA will enter into a double taxation avoidance agreement and say that companies who are doing business in both India and USA, there will be certain companies who are doing business in both India and in USA. Both these countries cannot tax the same profit. It cannot be that you get your profit taxed here also and here also. This is the problem of double taxation. Double taxation, like we saw, is unfair, right? So this is the problem of double taxation. So to avoid this problem of double taxation, this double taxation avoidance agreement was signed, and this DTA says that profits of a company that is doing business in both of these areas will only be taxed in one jurisdiction. So Amazon will either pay tax in India or it will pay tax in USA. It will not pay tax in both. So this double taxation avoidance agreement India has with many countries. For example, India has double taxation avoidance agreement with Mauritius, with Singapore. So you will see a lot of Indian companies that are actually Indian companies, but they are registered in Singapore or they are registered in Mauritius, because Mauritius tax rate, Mauritius का जो tax rate है, that on company profits is about 2%, and India's taxation rate, even with minimum alternate tax, is 18%, and actual corporation tax rate is 25%. Now, here, firstly, in DTA we agree. Now let's assume that nothing illegal is happening. This is completely legal. This is negotiated between the two governments. India and US government have negotiated an agreement saying that companies who are doing business in both USA and India will be taxed only in one place. Now it is up to the company. Company can recognize or show the profits here, they will get taxed here. They can show the profits here, they will get taxed here. It is up to them. You show your profits here, you will get taxed here. You show your profits here, you will get taxed here, but not in both places. You cannot say that profits are here. You are an American company, that's why we are taxing you. Business is done in India, so you are an Indian company, so we are taxing you. Same profits cannot be taxed in both places. For this agreement of double taxation avoidance agreement was signed. Is this clear? समझ आया DTA क्यों आया? समझ आया why we got DTA? ठीक है. Now let us see the misuse of DTA. ये तो सब अभी तक सब कुछ लीगल हो रहा है, right? Amazon, ये profit Amazon ने इंडिया में कमाया. Indian government says you earn this profit here, so give us tax. American government says you are an American company, so give us tax. Amazon is facing dual burden, so double taxation avoidance agreement is signed. Now they can book the profit here or they can book the profit here, and it gets solved. Now let's see the illegal process, which is base erosion and profit shifting. This process is called base erosion and profit shifting, BEPS. We are going to misuse something called DTA and related party transactions. These all things are connected. We will understand them together. We will understand all of this together. Now, base erosion and profit shifting and misuse of related party transactions to not pay tax. Now let's see another example. There is a company called X. This company X is registered in Mauritius. It is doing business in Mauritius also. This company opens a branch in India. Now this branch that they open in India, this is also doing certain business here. From here they will earn certain profits. From this business they will earn certain profits. Indian government will say your profits have been made in India. Since your profits have been made in India, you pay tax in India. What this company X will do is they will shift their profits. They will shift their profits to this company. They will shift their profits to company X. Now, how do you do that? There are 2-3 ways of shifting this profit. And then we will see what we have done to avoid companies shifting this profit. Right? अभी तक समझ आ रहा है ना यार? बीच में ना आज क्या है कि I'm in my राजेंद्र नगर ऑफिस, तो चैट का जो स्क्रीन है वो मेरे से थोड़ा दूर है. It is slightly far from me, so I will not be able to see big messages. तो मैं बीच में वहां जाके देख लूंगा, बट अभी आप yes no लिख दोगे तो बात बन जाएगी. ठीक है? Now let's see how this profit can be shifted. Right? If they are able to shift this profit, अभी हम देखेंगे profit कैसे shift होता है. They are able to shift their profit. They have basically eroded their base. They have basically eroded their base from India, and profit has been shifted. Profit is shifted here. Mauritius is a country that has the corporate income tax rate. Mauritius corporate income tax rate is 2%. Indian corporate income tax rate is 25%. So now this company will want to shift its profits. But how do you shift your profits? आप कैसे अपने profits shift करोगे? Amazon के केस में this was legitimate. क्यों legitimate था? Because Amazon is actually a very big company that is doing business in USA also, doing business in India also. Some US people are also involved in Indian business. So it's a very big company which is actually doing business in both places. But in this case, business in Mauritius will be negligible as compared to business in India. Business in Mauritius तो कोई बहुत ज्यादा होगा नहीं, right? Business in India will be a lot because Mauritius is relatively very small country. Now this is illegitimate profit shifting. They are going to shift this profit illegitimately. Okay? How are they going to do it? There are 2-3 ways of doing it. The first way to do it is called related party transaction. Let's see what this is. इसको यहीं छोड़ते हैं, पहले रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन समझते हैं, फिर उसे यहीं पे इंप्लाई कर लेंगे. Let's say there is a company called Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki sells cars. They sell their cars for 10 lakh rupees, and their manufacturing cost is 5 lakh rupees. The difference is 5 lakh rupees. This is their profit, and they should ideally pay tax on this. In India. Now, let's say they have a parent company. Called Suzuki. Suzuki is located in Japan. To make this car in their manufacturing cost, there must be some cost of buying tires. They have purchased tires, so there must be some cost of buying tires. Now, the some cost of buying tires, let's say in the Indian market, there are various tire suppliers, MRF, ZLX, Apollo tires, Pirelli, etc. There are various tire suppliers. Broadly, we can say that all 4 tires in Indian market are available close to 20,000. Someone is giving for 30,000, some is giving for 10,000. Depending on the quality you use, you can get it around this rate. This is the average rate, right? Now, इससे आप एक चीज याद कर सकते हो माइक्रोइकोनॉमिक्स में. Which type of market does tires become? Because of this? किस टाइप की मार्केट है ये बताओ. देखते हैं कितना याद है आप लोगों को. Which type of market is tires now? This is monopolistic competition or imperfect competition. There are various suppliers. There are so many suppliers of tires. They have slightly differentiated products. Pirelli will say their tire has better grip. MRF will say their tires is more smooth, etc., etc. This is monopolistic competition. Slightly differentiated products are there, right? But broadly, remember in monopolistic competition, what happened? In the market, companies had some market power because of brand loyalty. याद करो हमने Zara का example देखा था. Zara, H&M, Arrow, Van Heusen, etc. Now, here what will happen here is that tires are available broadly at this rate. It is available at this rate. Maruti Suzuki will actually buy tires not from this. They will not buy tires from this. They will buy tires from Suzuki. And they will buy tires at rupees 2 lakhs. They will buy tires for rupees 2 lakhs, right? Now, when they buy these tires for 2 lakhs, earlier their manufacturer, or let's say 2,20,000, they will buy their tires for 2,20,000. Now, when they buy their tires for 2,20,000, what is now their manufacturing cost? Earlier it was 5 lakh, including this 20,000. Now it has increased by 2 lakhs. So now manufacturing cost is 7 lakhs. Now what is the profit? 3 lakhs is the profit, and they will now pay tax on this 3 lakhs only. They will now pay tax only on this 3 lakh. They have artificially increased their manufacturing cost. This should not have been their manufacturing cost. ये उनकी manufacturing cost है नहीं. उन्होंने आर्टिफिशियली अपनी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट इंक्रीज कर ली है. इस 5 लाख के प्रॉफिट को उन्होंने 3 लाख कर लिया है, एंड नाउ दे विल पे टैक्स ऑन दिस 3 लाख प्रॉफिट. Whatever 3 lakh profit they have made, they will now pay tax only on this 3 lakh profit. They have managed to manipulate their profit. The extra money that they have paid goes to Suzuki. Since extra money goes to Suzuki, Suzuki's profits increase. When Suzuki's profits increase, they will get tax on these profits in Japan. Japan's tax rate is 10%. So effectively through this mechanism, you have avoided paying tax. पहले आप 5 lakhs पे 25% tax देते. So earlier, let's now calculate the tax liability of this entire company. Maruti Suzuki is one company only. So earlier they had 5 lakh profit in India. They would have paid 25% tax. So they would have paid 1.25 lakh rupees. Now they have 3 lakh profit in India. Tax rate is 25%. So they will pay 75,000. They have 2 lakhs profit in Japan. In Japan, it is 10%. So they will pay 20,000. So now they are paying 95,000. And actual liability is this much. So they have saved 30,000 in taxation. Is this clear? समझ आया कैसे पैसे बचाए उन्होंने? Is this clear? Now, what is the illegal thing that has happened here? यहाँ पर illegal चीज क्या हुई है? What is the illegal thing that has happened here? The illegal thing that has happened here is that they have bought tires for 2,20,000, but they should have bought tires for only 20,000. उन्हें 20,000 के ही खरीदने चाहिए थे. They have bought for 2,20,000, right? Now buying for 2,20,000 is illegal. Why? Why is buying for 2,20,000 illegal? Because it is artificially more than the market rate. आपने एक related party से, Suzuki is a related party, आपने एक related party से जान के higher rate पे खरीद लिया rather than buying from the market. If Suzuki was not your related party, अगर ये Maruti Suzuki से Suzuki related नहीं होता, then would they have made this transaction? No. They have done it simply to erode their base in India. Erode their base in India and shift their profit. Erode their base in India and shift their profit. This is base erosion and profit shifting. ठीक है? This is one of the ways to abuse the double taxation avoidance agreement. Double taxation avoidance agreement says that profit of firm will be taxed either only in India or only in foreign countries, not both. So what will we do? We will make one parent company abroad. This parent company will purchase the profit and shift the profit. One way of purchasing this profit and shifting this profit is this. This is one way to shift this profit. Base erosion and profit shifting, abuse of double taxation avoidance agreement. Now, to avoid this sort of abuse of double taxation avoidance agreement, ये DTAA का abuse avoid करने के लिए, what do you need? Now, you will look at this, but this is not the only, you are, let's say, IRS income tax officer, and you look at this. They will give you their balance sheets. You will have Maruti's balance sheets. But this will not be the only transaction they are making. They will put so many transactions that you will not be able to find out that this transaction has been done at higher than market cost. आपको ये पता करने के लिए आपको actually इधर से भी information चाहिए. You need information from Suzuki also. Only then you will be able to find out what has happened here. So you need a lot of information to find these things out. So you need information sharing. In this case, you need something called information sharing. Now for this information sharing, there have been various agreements. There have been agreements between G20 countries. There have been agreements between OECD countries, and we will see these agreements tomorrow. Just remember that information sharing. Now when you get the complete information, you are a tax officer sitting here, you get this information also, you get Suzuki's balance sheet also, you get this information also. Then you will be able to find out that some sort of transaction which was not required has happened. So information sharing के काफी agreements हुए हैं between G20 countries as well as OECD countries. Now, the moment you now start, let's say you got this information. अभी तक चल रहा है? अभी तक this is fine? अभी तक ठीक है? समझ आ रहा है क्या चल रहा है? Good. Now, think about this. If now you go to Maruti, you are, let's say, an IRS income tax officer, and you go to Maruti and say that what you have done is illegal. What you have done is illegal, and we will not allow this. What will Maruti do? What will Maruti do now? Maruti Suzuki will say there is, and ये term आपने सुनी होगी न्यूज में, Maruti Suzuki will say there is tax terrorism in India. Tax terrorism, meaning that they are illegitimately claiming tax. Maruti will not accept they have done this. They will say कि देखो Indian government excessive tax rates charge करती है, tax terrorism करती है. Indian government does not want to have ease of doing business. मारुति कहेगी यहाँ ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस है ही नहीं. जब देखो आईआरएस ऑफिसर्स आ जाते हैं, रेड मार देते हैं, हमारी हमेशा पॉलिसीज को चैलेंज करते रहते हैं, हम उनको बैलेंस शीट से प्रेजेंट करते रहते हैं, राइट? दैट इज व्हाई दे डोंट अलाउ ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस. देयर इज टैक्स टेररिज्म इन इंडिया. नाउ लुक एट इट फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट साइड. If government chooses to send IRS officers here, they get claims of tax terrorism, they get claims of lack of ease of doing business. If they choose not to send, they lose out on tax. अगर आपने नहीं भेजा तो government will lose out on tax revenue, and ultimately the government is running because of tax revenue. If there was no tax revenue, there would be no government, right? This is a lose-lose situation. Government will lose here, government will also lose here. Here also government is losing, here also government is losing. Now, in this lose-lose situation, what should the government do? Now government is in a fix. What do we do now? यहां जाएंगे तो भी हारेंगे, इधर जाएंगे तो भी हारेंगे. So to avoid this lose-lose situation, a Parthasarathi Shone committee was made. This problem was understood and Parthasarathi Shone committee was made to avoid lose-lose situation of tax evasion and tax terrorism. So either you allow them to evade tax or you get hit with claims of tax terrorism. To avoid this lose-lose situation, Parthasarathi Shone committee is made. Parthasarathi Shone committee recommends something called general anti-avoidance rules. They recommend something called general anti-avoidance rules. GAAR, general anti-avoidance rules. A set of general principles that the government is going to impose. A set of general principles that a government is going to impose to ensure that you do not avoid taxation. And this will be done in advance of setting up of company. When you are setting up your company, let's say when Maruti is setting up its first plant here, you will agree to these general anti-avoidance rules. Then you will set up your plant. If you have firstly agreed yourself, अगर मारुति ने सेटअप करने से पहले ही agree किया है to these general anti-avoidance rules, now they cannot claim that there is tax terrorism happening because they have agreed. They have already agreed, right? And they will also know. So if you already write it on paper that these things are illegal, even Maruti gets discouraged from doing these things. So what do these general anti-avoidance rules say? These general anti-avoidance rules have certain provisions. I've written some provisions here. Let me explain what this means. सबसे पहले, there is something called place of effective management. Place of effective management. Let's take an example. X is a company. It is set up in Mauritius. It is doing all of its business in India. When it makes profits from this business, it says it is actually, we are a Mauritius company, so we will be getting taxed at Mauritius rate. Right? Now, To solve this problem, we introduce a provision called place of effective management. What is this? You are saying you are managed from Mauritius. Your entrepreneurship is in Mauritius. You are saying that. But looking at your balance sheet, if I have this information and I have this information, what is your actual place of effective management? Where are you effectively getting managed from? You are getting managed from India. So you will pay tax in India. आप इंडिया में ही टैक्स पे करोगे, आप बाहर टैक्स पे नहीं करोगे. Place of effective management, poem. This is one of the major principles. Second principle, they say that in this case, in Maruti's case, what was the main problem? It was how Maruti chooses to have pricing of its inputs. मारुति के कुछ inputs हैं जैसे कि टायर्स, लेदर, स्टील. All of this is done and then a car is made. Right? यहां पर प्रॉब्लम क्या थी? इस केस में जो हो रहा था, इस केस में मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या थी? That pricing of inputs was not proper. They had not properly priced their inputs. So Indian government will say, you will show us your pricing policy. How do you price your products? Your pricing policy, you need to show this in advance. Before you start manufacturing, you show us your pricing policy. We will not dictate. You can price in whatever manner. That is your choice. Just give that information to us, how you choose pricing or how, on what principles do you choose pricing. Now, once you have already declared your principles of pricing, now you cannot say that we are buying tires from Suzuki at 2,20,000 when in the Indian market tires are available for 20,000. Right? So this is something called advanced pricing agreement. We will have an advanced pricing agreement so that you cannot then say that we are going to shift the pricing there. Okay. Now, इसी केस को देखते हैं. Why did Suzuki have this transaction? Or why did Maruti have this transaction? Maruti had this transaction simply because this is a related party. Suzuki is related to Maruti. If Suzuki was not related to Maruti, there would be no reason of carrying out this transaction. This transaction is only carried out because they are related parties. So for this, we introduce a new principle called arm's length principle, which is part of advanced pricing agreement. We introduce something called arm's length principle. Arm's length principle says that you will treat all parties, whether they are related companies or they are not related companies. आपसे company related हो या ना हो, you will treat them at an arm's length. So there should be no difference in your treatment of related parties and your treatment of non-related parties. If you are buying something from a related party, you can still buy. Of course, you might need to buy something from Suzuki. But if market price of that item is 50,000 rupees, you can say Suzuki's quality is better. Suzuki is now, for us, Suzuki is going to be 1 lakh. We are going to buy from Suzuki at 1 lakh. How does arm's length principle work? There are two parties here. There is Maruti, which is in India, and there is Suzuki, which is in Japan. Let's say Suzuki also sells tires. I know this is not true, but let's say they sell tires. When they sell tires to Maruti, Maruti buys them for 2 lakh rupees. When Maruti buys tires from someone else, let's say they buy tires from MRF, they buy at 20,000 rupees. If you only have this information, can you say that related party transaction has happened or something wrong has happened? You just have this information. Can you say now that something wrong has happened? Yes or no? इस इंफॉर्मेशन से आप बता सकते हो कि कुछ गलत हुआ है? अच्छा, जो लोग यस बोल रहे हैं चैट में, बताना क्या गलत हुआ है। मैं मारुति का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हूं, आप आईआरएस ऑफिसर हो। आई एम द मारुति रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, यू आर द आईआरएस ऑफिसर। टेल मी व्हाट रॉन्ग हैज हैपेंड। ह्यूज गैप इन कॉस्ट, बिल्कुल बात सही है आपकी। बट सर, ह्यूज गैप इन कॉस्ट इज बिकॉज सुजुकी टायर्स आर ऑफ मच हायर क्वालिटी एंड आई वांट टू यूज दिस क्वालिटी। जब सस्ती गाड़ी बनाता हूं तो एमआरएफ के टायर यूज करता हूं, जब महंगी गाड़ी बनाता हूं तो सुजुकी के टायर यूज करता हूं। सुजुकी के टायर्स की क्वालिटी बहुत अच्छी है, आप यूज करके देखो, मजा आ जाएगा। अब बताओ क्या गलत हुआ है? What more information do I need? When Suzuki will sell these tires, when Suzuki will sell these tires to other people in Japan, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि Suzuki सिर्फ मुझे सेल कर रहा है। Here when Suzuki sells these tires, they sell it for 30,000. Now you know something wrong has happened. अब समझ आया? Now you know there is something wrong. Because when you are selling to Maruti, you are selling at 2 lakh. When you are selling to Japan, other companies in Japan, अब ये तो आपके related parties नहीं है, इनको तो आपको market comparative rate पे ही बेचना पड़ेगा। अगर आप यहां बोलोगे मैं 2 लाख पे बेच रहा हूं, nobody will buy because market rate is 50,000. Somebody will go and buy for 50,000. Now, if you are selling here at 30,000, you cannot sell here at 2 lakh. Understood? But for this, what to get this, what do I need? ये समझने के लिए मुझे चाहिए क्या? I need this information. This information becomes critical. Therefore, this information sharing is very important. ये अभी हम कल when we read WTO, IMF and how the world global governance of taxation happens, ये सारा हम साथ में पढ़ेंगे. Then we'll, but just remember this, ये चीज याद रखना ताकि कल पढ़ने में आसानी हो. Now, हमने अभी क्या समझा? We have understood few terms like arm's length principle, advanced pricing agreement, place of effective management, general anti-avoidance rules, base erosion and profit shifting norms, and double taxation avoidance agreement. Right? Now there are some other terms here also. But I want to teach all of those terms in consonance with the other things in international economics. मैं आपको बता देता हूं क्या क्या terms हैं. There is something called a global minimum tax. There is something called transfer pricing. There is something called indirect transfers. Now all of this we will read when we are reading global institutions in one place. ठीक है, हम कल ही पढ़ने वाले हैं, ज्यादा कोई गैप नहीं है, कल ही पढ़ने वाले हैं. Before we go to this global taxation and global system, because what I have done is, आपको कल दिखाऊंगा मैं, what I have done is I have made one table. जैसे मैंने आपको बैंक्स के लिए दिया था, ऐसे ही मैंने एक टेबल बना दिया है जिसमें WTO, IMF, वर्ल्ड बैंक, G20, G7, ये सारे एक जगह पे हैं. So there is one table which contains information of all of these various bodies. We get confused in these bodies, कौन सा किसका काम है, right? So all of this is in one place, and many of these measures are coming from these institutions. Therefore, we are going to put them together. Tomorrow I'll give you this sheet also, ताकि आपको कभी भी even IR के लिए आप यहाँ से रिवाइज कर सकते हो. इनमें सब कुछ लिखा हुआ है. It's not just economy, everything is written in this. जैसे मैंने banking में आपको वो दिया था, similarly I have made for this also. So this remaining part we will see when we see this tomorrow. Is this clear? Is this clear? ठीक है, आई होप दिस विल हेल्प ऑल्सो. आप यहीं से रिवाइज कर लेना, IR भी यहीं से रिवाइज कर लेना. ठीक है, तो एक ही जगह से सब कुछ रिवाइज हो जाएगा. वी विल रिवाइज एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम वन प्लेस. नाउ अब एक काम करते हैं, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक्स. वी विल कम बैक टू दिस. ये एक दो टॉपिक्स जो यहां बच्चे हैं, विल कम बैक टू दिस once we have done international economics. Now, अब यहां पर आपको काफी कुछ समझने का है. A lot of things here you have to understand in international economics. ठीक है, a lot of things we have to understand for international economics. हमें समझने हैं एक्सचेंज रेट सिस्टम्स, हमें समझना है बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स, और फिर हमें समझनी है इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. When we read balance of payments, we also have to understand two other things. We have to understand something called foreign direct investment FDI and foreign portfolio investment FPI. ये हमें समझना है. When we read exchange rates, we have to understand various systems of exchange rates. So there are three systems. One is called fixed or pegged, one is called free, and one is called managed float or dirty float. Then there is a general understanding of demand and supply. मैंने आपको कहा था जो भी ऐसी चीजें होंगी जिसमें किसी भी चीज की प्राइसिंग है, we will do that through demand supply curve. So we have to understand the demand supply curve of exchange rate and how this curve, ताकि आपको इसमें कभी कंफ्यूजन ना हो कि इससे डॉलर का रेट बढ़ेगा या कम होगा, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. Then we also have to understand various ways of calculating exchange rate. Various ways of calculating exchange rate. One way, for example, is the market exchange rate, जितने पे वो मार्केट में मिल रहा है. One is PPP exchange rate. We have read this before. One is real exchange rate. One is effective exchange rate. This effective exchange rate is also calculated as nominal effective exchange rate (NER) and real effective exchange rate (RER). Right? ये सारी चीजें हम समझेंगे. ठीक है. So this is what we are now going to understand today. We are going to understand the balance of payments, what is current account, what is capital account, what is reserves. Then we are going to understand exchange rate systems. In exchange rate systems, we are going to understand these three systems. We are going to understand the demand and supply curve, the shifts of demand and supply. We are going to understand what is market exchange rate, PPP exchange rate, real effective exchange rate, nominal effective exchange rate. इनमें फर्क क्या होता है? And then we are going to understand something called international organizations. This is the main thing that will be left tomorrow, which is WTO, IMF, etc. And tomorrow will be our last class, like I have told you before. Now, तो सबसे पहले let's actually not start with balance of payments. Let's start with exchange rates. Let's start with exchange rates and let's understand exchange rates in detail. Let's understand exchange rates, right? Let's start with understanding of exchange rates through demand supply curve. Then we'll come back and understand balance of payments. Now, किसी भी चीज का प्राइस, the price of anything that we have read so far, how are prices decided? There is only one way. There are forces of demand and supply. There are forces of demand and supply, है ना? Now a lot of concepts are going to come together. ठीक है, तो अगर आपने अच्छी रिवीजन की है, you will understand this very well. There are only two forces of demand and supply. Let's say we right now say that $1 is equal to 86 rupees. This is what we say. आज शायद और कम हो गया होगा. Right, rupee is falling right now. $1 is equal to 86 rupees. Now, when you say $1 is equal to 86 rupees, it means you can purchase $1. You can purchase $1 for 86 rupees. This is the purchase price. Purchase price of $1. You can purchase $1 for 86 rupees. Correct? यही बोलते हैं. That means there is a pricing mechanism involved here. If there is a pricing mechanism involved here, there will be some demand and supply involved here. So now let us understand the demand and supply of currencies with each other. Right? There will be some supply of rupee, some demand of dollar. तभी जाके ये बात बनेगी. Then this price will come. ये कहीं ऐसे ही किसी चीज से आया होगा. We have seen this before. Let us now understand how currency exchange actually happens. In the entire world, currency exchange in the entire world happens in something called foreign exchange markets. Forex, ये word आप बहुत बार सुनने वाले हो अगले 2 दिन में. Forex means foreign exchange. Forex markets. There are markets where foreign exchange is done, where foreign currencies are exchanged. Now, every currency exchange in the world, wherever currency exchange is happening, it is happening in this Forex market. Now, you will say that I go to a bank and buy dollars. I go to, let's say, Western Union, or I go to some currency exchanger and buy dollars. What is happening? At this Forex market, on the basis of demand and supply, a rate is decided. Whoever is the currency exchanger they will also buy from this market, then you will buy from them, and they will charge some commission. You must have seen this before. You must have seen these cases before, that certain commission is being charged when you go and exchange currency. You will not get it at the website, at the thing that is written on, let's say, Google. आप Google पे search करोगे तो this is the rate you will see, and the one that you will get at this rate. Then you decide which one is charging the least commission and you buy it. So let's say $1 is available for 86 rupees, right? But when you go to currency exchange kiosk, let's say you go to the airport, they will be giving you $1 for 87 rupees. This 1 rupee extra is their commission, right? तो मैं आपको ये दिखाता हूं. Let me show you this. If you ever want to find out proper currency conversion, it is done on this website called XE. This is one of the most reliable websites. So now see, INR to US dollar, INR to US dollar, this is the rate at the moment. This is the rate in the international forex market. There are 5 centers of the world where such forex markets are there. There is one market in Tokyo, one is in London, for example. This is the current rate. This rate will keep changing. This rate will keep changing because this is like another market. The way there was a share market, there was a capital market, there was a financial market. Similarly, this will also keep changing. Demand and supply of dollar will keep changing. So it is decided here. Then when you go and buy, let's say you go and want to buy from Western Union will buy from here, lay a commission on you and give it to you. So you will never get at this rate. You will never get at this rate. You might get at 87 rupees, 88 rupees, etc. Now everyone will charge their different commissions. Now let us understand what is happening here. For sake of understanding, we will try and understand the exchange rate between US and euros. पहले US euro का exchange rate समझते हैं. The logic is the same. If you just replace euro with rupee here, you will get the rupee exchange rate. But let's understand with euros. It will be easier to understand. Now, I have to understand the price of US dollar in euros. Price of US dollar in euros. If I have 1 euro, how much US dollars can I get? If I have 1 euro, how much US dollars I can get? Right? Price of dollar in euros. Okay? Now, I can similarly understand price of dollar in rupee. ये भी समझ सकता हूं. If I have, let's say 100 rupees, how many US dollars can I get? Or for 1 US dollar, how many rupees do I have to pay? This is what I'm understanding. Now, what have I, in this case, what do I have to understand? मैं क्या समझना चाह रहा हूं? I'm trying to understand the price of dollars in euros. Price of dollars in euros. So on the graph that I will make, I will write on this side price. Price quantity graph. I will write price of dollars in euros. नीचे I will write quantity of US dollars. Price quantity graph. Simple microeconomics जैसे पहले पढ़ा था. इसलिए इतना टाइम लगाया था माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स पे, ताकि अब यहां पर ये ना सोचना पड़े कौन सेल कर रहा है कौन बाय कर रहा है. ग्राफ से सब समझ जाएंगे. प्राइस ऑफ डॉलर्स इन यूरोस, क्वांटिटी ऑफ यूएस डॉलर्स. ठीक है. अब व्हाट शुड द डिमांड एंड सप्लाई कर्व्स लुक लाइक? दैट इज द मेन क्वेश्चन. डिमांड और सप्लाई कर्व्स पे लिखूं क्या? आई एम ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड. लेट्स से मैं यहां पे प्राइस ऑफ डॉलर्स की जगह आई वुड हैव रिटन प्राइस ऑफ पेन्स. अगर मैं यहां पे प्राइस ऑफ पेन्स लिख देता, प्राइस ऑफ पेन्स इन रुपीस, price of pens in rupees. If this is what I had written, what would I write here? Demand of pens. Demand of pens. And in euros, so demand of pens in Europe. अगर सप्लाई लिखना होता तो मैं क्या लिखता? सप्लाई ऑफ पेन्स फ्रॉम सप्लायर और फ्रॉम कंपनी. यही लिखता ना? This is what I would have written. Yes. दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई वुड हैव रिटन, यही लिखता मैं। अरे यस नो तो बोल दो। अरे जतिन कंफ्यूजिंग कैसे है, मेरे को पता था कंफ्यूजिंग होगी, इसलिए आप डॉलर छोड़ दो यहाँ पे, रिमूव डॉलर, राइट पेन्स। प्राइस क्वांटिटी ग्राफ ऑफ पेन तो हमने बनाया, सबको समझ आ रहा है यार। प्राइस क्वांटिटी ग्राफ ऑफ पेन्स वी हैव मेड, व्हाट वुड बी राइट? प्राइस ऑफ पेन्स, क्वांटिटी ऑफ पेन्स, सप्लाई ऑफ पेन्स, डिमांड ऑफ पेन्स, यही लिखते हैं ना। दिस इज व्हाट वी वुड हैव नॉर्मली रिटन। लेट मी चेंज दिस पेन टू डॉलर। मैं इस पेन की जगह डॉलर चेंज कर लिखता हूं। तो आई विल राइट प्राइस ऑफ डॉलर in euros, quantity of dollars, demand of dollars, demand of dollars in Europe, demand of US dollars from Europe, demand of dollars in Europe, or supply, who is the supplier of US dollar, who can supply US dollar? Americans can supply, USA can supply. So I would write supply of US dollars from USA. Clear? डिमांड कौन कर रहा है? यूरोपियंस डिमांड कर रहे हैं, तो हम यूरोज में देख रहे हैं। प्राइस ऑफ डॉलर, क्वांटिटी ऑफ डॉलर, सप्लाई ऑफ यूएस डॉलर फ्रॉम यूएसए, डिमांड ऑफ यूएस डॉलर। इसको यूयू की जगह आप यहां इंडिया लिख लो, एक ही बात है। आप यहां इंडिया लिखोगे तो यहां पे रुपीज आ जाएगा, है ना? ठीक है, डन। अब नाउ why would यूरोपियंस डिमांड डॉलर? यूरोपियंस डॉलर से डिमांड क्यों करेंगे? व्हाई वुड यूरोपियंस डिमांड यूएस डॉलर्स? ये समझते हैं क्यों मांग रहे हैं वो यूएस डॉलर्स। पेन का तो समझ आता है, दे वांट टू राइट। व्हाई वुड यूरोपियंस डिमांड यूएस डॉलर्स? अंडरस्टैंड दिस प्रिंसिपल that if any such transaction has to happen, if any transaction has to happen in USA, if you want to do any transaction in USA, it will always be done in US dollars. आप यूएसए में जाके किसी को रुपीज नहीं पकड़ा सकते, आपको डॉलर्स ही देने पड़ेंगे। You will have to go to USA, you will have to give dollars. Once you give dollars, only then they will give you some goods and services, right? तो आपको यूएसए में कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन करनी है, यूएसए से आपको कुछ भी खरीदना है तो आपको डॉलर्स में ही खरीदना पड़ेगा, राइट? क्योंकि वहां के बिजनेसेस दे विल नॉट एक्सेप्ट एनीथिंग इन रुपीज और एनीथिंग इन यूरोस, दे विल ओनली एक्सेप्ट डॉलर्स। Now let's say I am here in India and I want to import a pen. I want to import a pen from USA. USA में एक पेन मैन्युफैक्चरर है और मुझे ये पेन इंडिया में चाहिए। तो अगर मैं फिजिकली जाऊं, इफ आई गो फिजिकली, आई विल फर्स्ट हैव टू ट्रैवल टू यूएसए, देन आई ट्रैवल टू यूएसए, आई हैव रुपीज इन माय पॉकेट। फ्रॉम रुपीज दे विल नॉट एक्सेप्ट दिस, रुपीज से तो वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे। आई विल हैव टू कन्वर्ट माय रुपीज इनटू डॉलर्स, then pay them certain dollars, then I will get the pen, है ना? I will have to convert my rupees into dollars, then pay them the dollars, then I will get the pen. If I am paying them dollars, then I am getting the goods or pen. That means I now have a demand of dollars. I have a demand. I want to first purchase dollars, then give for whatever purpose, right? So one reason of people having demand for dollars would be if I want to buy certain import. I want to import something. I would have a demand for dollars. Is this clear? ये clear हो गया तो current capital account भी clear हो जाएगा, है ना? So one is to buy imports. This is one reason for demand. ठीक है, और reasons for demand देखते हैं. What can be other reasons for demand? I am in India. I will also want to invest my money. I now have the entire world as an investment choice. I can invest in India. I can invest in USA. I can invest wherever I want. मैं जहां चाहूं वहां invest कर लूं. Now इसमें कुछ limits हैं, we'll see that. Now I want to invest in an Indian company. I will buy shares of this Indian company. I feel that US companies are much better. I feel US companies are much better. They give much more returns. I will invest on the basis of my return, the return I'm getting. So now I feel like I want to invest in a company in USA. I have rupees in my pocket. I will first travel. Then after traveling from my rupees, I will purchase dollars. Once I have purchased dollars, then I will give them these dollars and get certain shares back. I will get certain shares back. I can also get bonds. So equity or debt investments can also be done. I can either get equity or I can do some debt investment. For this also, I will have to convert this into dollar. Now again, I have a demand for dollar. Third case. I am in India. I see that savings interest rate in Indian banks is 4%. Indian banks are offering 4% interest rate. I see that American banks are offering 10% interest rate. I see here the savings interest rate is 10%. I get this 10% interest rate. What will I do? I will say that why not save my money in American bank? मैं American bank में क्यों ना save कर लूं? It is better. Again, I will first have to travel. After I travel, I will have to change my rupees into dollars because American bank will not accept rupees from me. Then I can deposit this dollar in an American bank. So again, I have a demand of dollars. So far, anything, any doubt? So far, any doubt? So there can be three reasons. That I have seen so far. One could be for any purchase. One could be that I want to save money in USA. One could be that I want to invest. I want to do some transaction involving loan or equity in USA. This could be one reason. और reasons देख लेते हैं. I am in India and I feel that US dollar rates, today US dollar, I feel that today US dollar is available for rupees 86. It is my speculation that tomorrow US dollar will become rupees 100. मुझे लग रहा है कि US dollar is going to become rupees 100. If this is what I feel, that US dollar is going to become rupees 100, I can also have a speculative demand. We have read this before. Speculative demand of US dollars. I can speculate the price. I can have a future expectation of price and want to buy. Is this clear? अभी हम ये पढ़ रहे हैं कि क्या क्या फैक्टर्स हो सकते हैं ऑफ डिमांड. Is this clear? I can have a speculative demand. I feel US dollar is today available at 86. मुझे लगता है कि US डॉलर कल या 10 दिन बाद 100 पे पहुंचेगा. Today I will simply buy $5,000. I don't want to use them. I have no use for these $5,000. I don't want to spend them. I will just buy them, and 2 months later or 1 month later, whenever this price reaches 100, I will sell them. I want to make a profit off of dollar pricing. Therefore, there is a speculative demand. All of these are factors of demand. And this is for an Indian towards USA. Now think about it. All these four things, which are the four things we have seen so far? अभी तक हमने क्या चार चीजें देखी? We have seen either some purchase of goods and services. This could be one thing. Purchase of goods and services. There could be second thing in terms of investment. There could be a third thing in terms of, third thing we saw was in terms of savings accounts, and fourth thing could be in terms of speculation. These are the four reasons why I would purchase US dollar. So far we have seen these four. Because I am purchasing US dollar, there is a demand for US dollars. Now, can an American not have these four exact interests from India? Can a person sitting here, can an American sitting here not feel these exact four things for India? American can also feel that I want to purchase some goods and services. American might also feel that I want to invest in India. American might also feel he wants to open savings account in India. American might also want to speculate on rupee. ये भी तो हो सकता है, right? This is also there. Now, if this thinking is there, what will this lead to? इससे होगा क्या? इससे American will supply certain dollars to India. He will supply dollars to India. Because अभी we are looking at it in terms of dollars. We are not looking at, अब आप सोच सकते हो कि यार ये तो डिमांड फॉर रुपी है, बट हम रुपी के टर्म्स में देख नहीं रहे हैं, हम ग्राफ डॉलर का बना रहे हैं. We are making the graph of dollar only. So we will see demand of dollars. From India, I want to buy dollars for these four reasons. So I have a demand of dollars. American wants to buy from India. He has a demand for rupee. For this demand, to buy rupee, what will he have to give? अगर एक अमेरिकन को ये काम करना है इंडिया में, उसे क्या देना पड़ेगा? उसे डॉलर्स देने पड़ेंगे. सो इट विल बी सप्लाई ऑफ डॉलर्स. अभी मैं डॉलर के टर्म में सोच रहा हूं तो मैं ऐसे सोचूंगा. आई कैन रिवर्स दिस एंड थिंक इन टर्म्स ऑफ रुपी ऑल्सो. मैं इसको उल्टा करके रुपी के टर्म्स में भी सोच सकता हूं. समझ आया? Is this clear? American wants to do these four things to India. This is supply of dollars. Indian wants these four things from USA. It is demand of dollars. Right now I am seeing in terms of only demand and supply. मैं सिर्फ देख रहा हूं in terms of demand and supply of dollars. Demand and supply of dollars. इसी terms में मैं देख रहा हूं. I am not seeing in terms of rupee. So what Indian wants is demand, what American wants is supply. अब इन कर्व्स को शिफ्ट कर लेते हैं. Now we will make the demand supply curve. So this is demand of US dollars. अभी हम इंडिया का एग्जांपल देख रहे हैं. तो from India, this is why I would want to purchase US dollars. This is supply of US dollars from USA to India. This is why an American would want to purchase rupee. समझ आ गए ग्राफ्स कैसे बने? And of course the exchange rate will affect here. Demand, अगर मैं सिर्फ डिमांड कर्व बनाऊं, I am trying to buy US dollar. I will write price of US dollar. Quantity demanded. What was the law of demand? Quantity demanded is inversely proportional to price at ceteris paribus. यही था. I can make this. Similarly, American will supply. Quantity supplied is directly proportional to price at ceteris paribus. So this can be done. Now demand supply graph is there. Wherever these graphs intersect will become the exchange rate. And this will be the quantity of such transactions. Is this clear? अब बन गया ग्राफ. Now this graph is made. अब अपना वही आपका फेवरेट काम और मेरा फेवरेट काम, इसको शिफ्ट कर लेंगे, इसको शिफ्ट करेंगे और एक्सचेंज रेट ऊपर नीचे होता जाएगा अपने आप. एक्सचेंज रेट ये है. दिस इज प्राइस ऑफ यूएसडी इन रुपीज. अब मैं फैक्टर बोलता हूं और आप बताना कि डॉलर महंगा होगा या सस्ता. आई विल राइट समथिंग ऑन द बोर्ड एंड यू विल हैव टू डिसाइड whether dollar is going to get expensive or dollar is going to get cheaper. ठीक है, उससे पहले लेट्स टेक अ ब्रेक फॉर 2 मिनट्स. आप ये ग्राफ एक बार खुद से बना लो, याद कर लो ग्राफ शिफ्ट कैसे होता था. अब यही प्रोसेस करने वाले हैं हम. आई एम गोइंग टू राइट वन फैक्टर हियर एंड यू आर गोइंग टू टेल मी इफ डॉलर इज गोइंग टू गेट मोर एक्सपेंसिव और चीपर. लेट्स टेक अ ब्रेक. आप ये रिवाइज कर लो, फिर यहीं से स्टार्ट करेंगे. दिस इज प्रोबेबली द लास्ट कॉन्सेप्ट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इन इकोनॉमिक्स. ओके, चलो अब वही करेंगे. I will write something here and you will tell me what will happen to exchange rate. ठीक है, same logic. I will write something here, you will say what will happen to exchange rate. बताओ एक्सचेंज रेट को क्या होगा. मैं जस्ट टू क्लैरिफाई मैं यहाँ पे और लिख देता हूँ ताकि क्लियर रहे. एक एक स्टेप सोचो, लॉजिकली ब्रेक दिस डाउन. अगर आप पूरा आंसर एक बारी में निकालना चाहोगे, इफ यू ट्राई टू फाइंड द एंटायर आंसर एट वंस, यू माइट नॉट बी एबल टू फाइंड. लॉजिकली ब्रेक डाउन द प्रोसेस, लॉजिकली ब्रेक डाउन द प्रोसेस, लॉजिकली पूरी प्रोसेस को लॉजिकली ब्रेक डाउन करना तो आंसर आ जाएगा। लॉजिकली ब्रेक डाउन द प्रोसेस। देखो मैंने क्या कहा कि इन्फ्लेशन रेट्स इन यूएसए, इन्फ्लेशन रेट्स इन यूएसए, इन्फ्लेशन रेट्स इन यूएसए आर लोअर देन इंडिया। दैट मीन्स goods are available, goods in USA are cheaper, American goods are cheaper than Indian goods. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. देखो, goods in America are cheaper. If goods in America are cheaper, people will buy more of American goods. American goods are cheaper. American goods are cheaper. That means Indians want to buy more American goods. If we want to buy more goods from USA, if we want to buy more goods from USA, I will first have to convert to dollar. That means demand for dollar has increased. Demand for dollar has increased. We have to shift the curve. New curve will be made like this. When new curve is made like this, exchange rate will rise. That means dollars will become more expensive. अगर अभी 85 रुपीस के अवेलेबल हैं या 86 के हैं, they will get available for 87 rupees. Clear? समझ आया मैंने क्या किया? Inflation rate in USA are lower. That means American goods are cheaper. Indians will now want to buy cheaper goods. हम चाहेंगे cheap goods खरीद लें. हम महंगे क्यों खरीदेंगे? We will buy cheap goods. If we want cheap goods, we will have to convert to dollar. If I want to convert to dollar, demand of dollar will increase and there will be outshifting of graph. समझ आ गया? Clear? This is exactly what I was doing. I have made the graph here and this is the new exchange rate. Dollar is now more expensive. Earlier, अभी इस exchange rate को हम मान लेते हैं कि ये exchange rate जो है ये 86 रुपीस है, जो आज का exchange rate है अभी, तो अब डॉलर 87 रुपीस में मिलेगा, है ना? Now I will now change the condition. अब एक next condition लगाते हैं. अभी मैं कहता हूं डॉलर इज नाउ ऑफ 86 रुपीस. इसके हिसाब से आप बताना डॉलर, आपको बस ये बताना है डॉलर विल बी नाउ मोर एक्सपेंसिव और डॉलर विल बी चीप. सेकंड कंडीशन इज अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट मेक्स प्रो बिजनेस पॉलिसीज. जैसे मान लो अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट ने वहां पर जो कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स रेट है उसको 25% से कम करके 10% कर दिया. अब बताओ क्या होगा? अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट मेक्स प्रो बिजनेस पॉलिसीज. देखो तभी हम ग्राफ पढ़ते हैं ताकि हमें ये 6 डिग्रीज ऑफ सेपरेशन ना खेलना पड़े. अब बहुत आसान है हमारे लिए जानना और आप ऑलमोस्ट सारे सही आंसर दे रहे हो. अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट मेक्स प्रो बिजनेस पॉलिसीज. दैट मींस इफ यू इन्वेस्ट इन यूएसए, if you invest here, if you invest in USA, if you invest in USA, you will get good returns. Company's profits will increase. You will get good returns now. Now, if you are going to get good returns, you will want to invest in USA. If you are wanting to invest in USA, demand of dollars will increase. Dollar will become more expensive. Clear? Clear हुआ है? ये condition clear है? अब नेक्स्ट कंडीशन देखते हैं, लेट्स सी नेक्स्ट कंडीशन. Americans feel that Indian goods are cool. अब क्या होगा? चित्रांशी ने बोला सर कैन बी सी इट लाइक प्रो बिजनेस मीनिंग इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ मीनिंग चीपली अवेलेबल, मतलब डिमांड इंक्रीजेस, मतलब डॉलर डिमांड इंक्रीजेस. क्यों करना है ये काम चित्रांशी, क्यों करना है ये काम? इसमें यू आर मच मोर लाइकली टू गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. सामने है ग्राफ, ग्राफ पे काम करते हैं. इतने टाइम हमने लगाया है ग्राफ समझने के लिए. If Americans feel that Indian goods are cool, Americans will want to buy more Indian goods. When Americans want to buy more Indian goods, supply will shift outward. This is the new supply curve. And this is the new price. Dollar is now cheaper in the market. Dollar is now cheaper. है ना? अब next. Interest rate in US banks. Interest rate in US banks is 4%. Interest rate in Indian banks becomes 10% on savings. This is savings interest rate, savings. Now what will happen? Same. Americans will think, let us save our money in Indian banks. Americans will first convert their dollars to rupee, then put money in Indian bank. So this is new supply curve. At new supply curve, dollar will now get cheaper. Now dollar will get cheap. है ना? डॉलर अब चीपर हो गया. अब देखो, अब इस केस में यहां तक तो क्लियर है, डॉलर विल गेट चीप. दिस इज क्लियर? पहले बताओ, इज दिस क्लियर? यस नो लिख दो, फिर आगे बात करते हैं. डिमांड ऑफ यूएस डॉलर विल नॉट decrease. यार सप्लाई ऑफ डॉलर फ्रॉम यूएसए इज नथिंग. दिस इज हाउ मच अमेरिकंस वांट टू गेट हियर. सप्लाई ऑफ यूएस डॉलर्स क्या है? एन अमेरिकन नाउ थिंक्स दैट आई वांट टू पुट मनी इन इंडियन बैंक्स. If American wants to put money in Indian bank, American will first convert his dollar to rupee. Indian banks don't accept dollars. Indian banks only accept rupees. You convert your dollars to rupees और आप अपने rupees को Indian banks में डालोगे क्योंकि आपको यहाँ better interest rate मिल रहा है. तो demand of rupee will increase. Demand of rupee is nothing other than supply of dollars. More dollars are being supplied now to India. लोग ज्यादा डॉलर इंडिया को सप्लाई कर रहे हैं, तो सप्लाई कर्व will shift outside. We cannot make two demand curves. We have to make one demand curve, one supply curve. तो जो अमेरिकन डिमांड कर रहे हैं उसको मैंने सप्लाई ऑफ डॉलर की तरह लिख दिया, और जो इंडियंस डिमांड कर रहे हैं वो मैंने डिमांड ऑफ डॉलर्स की तरह लिख दिया. समझ आ गया? कुछ है ही नहीं इसमें. नाउ अब आपको एक चीज याद कराता हूं. Who controls this interest rate in India? ये इंटरेस्ट रेट इंडिया में कंट्रोल कौन करता है? Who controls this interest rate? Who controls this interest rate? Good. RBI controls this interest rate. है ना? RBI can technically, RBI can increase interest rates. RBI can increase interest rates and control the exchange rate. RBI can increase interest rates and control the exchange rate. है ना। अगर ये चीज पॉसिबल है कि इंटरेस्ट रेट से आप एक्सचेंज रेट को यहां देख लिया कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, आरबीआई कैन इंक्रीज इंटरेस्ट रेट्स एंड कंट्रोल द एक्सचेंज रेट। यस, यस और नो। आरबीआई चाहे तो वो इंटरेस्ट रेट से डॉलर ये एक्सचेंज रेट कंट्रोल कर सकता है ना। यस, आरबीआई's control of interest rate, आरबीआई's control of interest rate, what do we call this? इसको क्या बोलते हैं? आरबीआई's control of interest rate, what is this called? इसको क्या बोलते हैं? इसको कहते हैं मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, because RBI will control money supply which will control interest rates. याद करो जब मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी पढ़ रहे थे तब मैंने आपको कहा था देयर कैन बी थ्री ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, देयर कैन बी थ्री ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, बट मैंने तब आपको दो ही ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बताए थे। एक है कंट्रोलिंग इन्फ्लेशन, एक है ग्रोथ, थर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव कैन बी एक्सचेंज रेट्स। मैंने आपको कहा था दिस विल बिकम क्लियर व्हेन वी रीड इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक्स। इवन दिस कैन बी अ पॉसिबल ऑब्जेक्टिव, ये भी ऑब्जेक्टिव हो सकता है आरबीआई का कि वो मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कंट्रोल करे टू कंट्रोल एक्सचेंज रेट्स। इट इज पॉसिबल टू डू इट। आरबीआई करता नहीं है। आरबीआई क्या टारगेट करता है? आरबीआई टारगेट्स इन्फ्लेशन, आरबीआई टारगेट्स इन्फ्लेशन which was something that we had read called inflation targeting framework agreement. हमने ये पढ़ा था कि there is a inflation targeting framework agreement, उसमें 4 ± 2% था। बट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कैन बी यूज्ड, मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कैन बी यूज्ड टू कंट्रोल एक्सचेंज रेट्स। इज दिस क्लियर? मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कैन बी यूज्ड टू कंट्रोल एक्सचेंज रेट्स। ये बात समझ आई? ये बात समझ आई? नाउ 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 अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग। टू इंक्रीज द इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, to increase the interest rates, what will RBI have to do? अब एक और ग्राफ बनाते हैं। We have made this graph also. Demand of money, supply of money, interest rates. ये ग्राफ भी बनाया। आरबीआई को अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट इंक्रीज करना है, आरबीआई को अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट इंक्रीज करना है, what will RBI have to do? What will RBI have to do? In this case, RBI को क्या करना पड़ेगा? Reduce the money supply. RBI will have to reduce the money supply. If RBI reduces money supply, if RBI reduces money supply, what is the impact on inflation? What is the impact on inflation now? मनी सप्लाई कम करके इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ जाती है क्या? ये कैसी बातें कर रहे हो यार तुम लोग? तो आपने इन्फ्लेशन भी कंट्रोल कर ली, आपने इन्फ्लेशन भी कंट्रोल कर ली, राइट? है ना? You have reduced the money supply, you have increased the interest rates, you have managed to control inflation. है ना? Clear so far? Is this clear? अब increasing the interest rate, what impact will it have on growth? ग्रोथ के लिए एक बार एग्रीगेट डिमांड याद कर लेते हैं। क्या था? C प्लस I प्लस G प्लस X माइनस M। इंटरेस्ट रेट किसको इंपैक्ट करता था? इसको और इसको। इंटरेस्ट रेट्स आर हाई, कंजम्पशन विल गो डाउन, इन्वेस्टमेंट्स विल गो डाउन। व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन टू ग्रोथ नाउ? Growth will decrease, growth will decrease. आप कोई भी कॉम्बिनेशन ट्राई करके देख लो, यू ट्राई वॉट एवर कॉम्बिनेशन यू वॉन्ट हियर. इंटरेस्ट आप करना घर पे, आई एम नॉट एक्सप्लेनिंग एवरी केस. आप करना घर पे, आप मनी सप्लाई बढ़ा के देख लेना, आप कम करके देख लेना, आप कुछ भी कर लो. ऑल दीज थ्री, व्हाट डू वी वांट? हम चाहते क्या है? वी वांट कि इन्फ्लेशन कम रहे, एक्सचेंज रेट कम रहे और ग्रोथ जो है वो बढ़े. दिस इज व्हाट वी वांट, कि इन्फ्लेशन कम हो, ग्रोथ बढ़े और एक्सचेंज रेट कम हो, है ना? ये चाह रहे हैं. एनी कॉम्बिनेशन यू ट्राई, दीज थ्री कैन नॉट हैपन टुगेदर. किसी भी कॉम्बिनेशन में ये तीनों चीजें साथ में नहीं हो सकती. All these three will not happen together regardless of what you do. आप कुछ भी कर लो, you will not be able to control these three together using monetary policy. आप ये कर सकते हो कि आप फिस्कल पॉलिसी से ग्रोथ करा लो, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट गेम. बट दीज थ्री टुगेदर कैन नॉट हैपन. ये बात समझ आई? आरबीआई ने एक्सचेंज रेट को कम किया इंटरेस्ट रेट के थ्रू. आरबीआई ने एक्सचेंज रेट को कम किया थ्रू इंटरेस्ट रेट्स. इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बढ़ा के आरबीआई ने इन्फ्लेशन भी कम करी, बट ग्रोथ कम हो गई. दिस इज नॉट अ डिजायरेबल ऑब्जेक्टिव. Less growth is not a desirable objective. Therefore, these three conditions, आप कुछ भी ट्राई कर लेना, it will never happen that these three conditions will happen together. ये हो ही नहीं सकता कि तीनों चीजें आप साथ में अचीव कर लो. This condition of not achieving any of these three together is called the Mundell-Fleming trilemma. Dilemma होता है when there is an option between two options. आप दो में से एक चूज करो. Dilemma, should I study or should I watch Netflix? Trilemma is there are three options. You cannot have all three options together. Known as Mundell-Fleming trilemma, named on the two economists Mundell and Fleming. Mundell-Fleming trilemma. जिसने पहले पढ़ रखा होगा तो आई एम श्योर रट रखा होगा ये, जैसे युता बता रही है. यार एलएमएस चल रहा है, या तो आप उसकी रिकॉर्डिंग देख लेना या आप इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग देख लेना. जैसे नाउ यू आर इन अ डिलेमा, whether you should watch this or that. Now you are in dilemma. This is a trilemma. This is a trilemma. ठीक है. नाउ अभी हमने क्या समझा है? अभी हमने समझा है हाउ डू एक्सचेंज रेट्स वर्क. यहां पर ये सारी चीजें लिखी हैं. फैक्टर्स लाइक यूएस इन्फ्लेशन, इनकम इंक्रीज. हाँ, एक फैक्टर है, वन फैक्टर इज लेफ्ट, वो भी देख लेते हैं. इन दिस ओनली आई गिव यू लास्ट कंडीशन. आई गिव यू द लास्ट कंडीशन हियर. मैं आपको लास्ट कंडीशन दे देता हूं. वो एक कंडीशन रह गई है बस. I'll just draw it again, no worries. Last condition is India's incomes increase. Income of Indians will increase. Now what will happen? This is demand of USD. This is supply of USD. Now what will happen? बस ये last condition. Of course, if Indian incomes increase, we will want to buy more American goods. We will want to buy more of American goods. अब हमारे पास ability होगी to buy American goods and services. You have increase in aggregate demand or increase in demand of USD. Therefore, exchange rate will go up. Right? ये हो गया. तो अभी हमने क्या समझा है? What are exchange rates? How does the demand curve shift? How does the supply curve shift? Same factors हैं, and I have written all of these factors here. हम ये सारा समझ चुके हैं. तो now आपको ये समझ आ गया कि exchange rates, how do they work? How do exchange rates work? Is this clear? Is this clear? How do exchange rates work? ये बात समझ आ गई कि exchange rates काम कैसे करते हैं, कौन कौन से factors हैं. अब समझते हैं टाइप्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज रेट, टाइप्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज रेट, ये हमने देखा है. देयर इज अ मार्केट ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी, सप्लाई ऑफ डॉलर, डिमांड ऑफ डॉलर, प्राइस इन रुपी, क्वांटिटी, ये हमने देख लिया. यही को इसी ग्राफ को हम समझ रहे थे. नाउ लेट्स से इंडियन गवर्नमेंट सेज we want to fix the exchange rate. This is called fixed exchange rate. We want to fix the exchange rate. US dollar should always be available for 50 rupees. कुछ भी हो जाए हम इसको 50 रुपीज में ही बेचेंगे. Right? We want to fix this exchange rate. When you want to fix this exchange rate, what will you do? अब क्या करने की जरूरत है? Now what do you need to do? Demand of dollars will increase. कभी ना कभी तो demand of dollars will increase. Right? Indian government कह रही है we want to fix it at 50 rupees. Let's say this level is 50 rupees. Let's say this level is rupees 50. Indian government is saying we want to fix it at rupees 50. Demand will increase. Now exchange rate has increased. Now what can you do? अब आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? You will have to give certain supply of dollars. आपको supply बढ़ानी होगी. To increase supply, one way is that Indian government starts selling dollars in the market. Indian government के पास कुछ dollars हैं. Indian government starts selling dollars in the market. अगर इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने डॉलर्स बेचना शुरू कर दिए, नाउ दिस ग्राफ विल कम बैक हियर एंड यू विल कम बैक टू दिस प्राइस. जैसे ही डिमांड इंक्रीज हो आप डॉलर बेचना शुरू कर दो. राइट? सो आप डॉलर बेचना शुरू कर दो. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व्ड. जब डिमांड कम होगी तब क्या करोगे? डिमांड गोज लोअर. मान लो डिमांड कम हो गई. पहले लोगों को लगता था यूएस के प्रोडक्ट्स आर कूलर, नाउ दे फील यूएस प्रोडक्ट्स आर लेमर, दे आर बैड, बहुत खराब है, तो डिमांड कम हो गई. अब जब डिमांड कम हो गई आप क्या करोगे? When demand goes less, you will start demanding US dollars. You will start buying US dollars and get it back here. आप इस ग्राफ को यहीं पर ही टिका के रखोगे. या तो जब डिमांड कम होगी तो आप डिमांड बढ़ा दोगे, जब डिमांड बढ़ेगी तो आप सप्लाई बढ़ा दोगे. If demand goes down, if demand curve goes down, you will shift the demand curve back up. When demand curve goes up, you will shift the supply curve out. आप सप्लाई कर्व बढ़ा दोगे. जब ये होगा तो आप सप्लाई कर्व बढ़ा दोगे. But you will always keep it fixed at this level. Is this clear? Is this clear? कि आप चेंज ही नहीं होने दे रहे हो एक्सचेंज रेट. When you are supplying dollars, तभी मैं वो सप्लाई डिमांड तब आपको क्लियर कर रहा था. Now Indian government is supplying dollars. That means Indian government is selling dollars and purchasing rupees. इस केस को देखते हैं. Indian government says we will fix exchange rate. We will fix exchange rate at 50 rupees. हम 50 rupees पे exchange rate को fix कर देंगे. Indian government says we will fix exchange rate at 50 rupees. We will fix exchange rate at 50 rupees. This is currently at 50 rupees. Demand goes up. Demand has reached here. Now exchange rate should be 60 rupees. Indian government says no worries. We will supply the additional dollars. We will supply the additional dollars. Now it is back at 50 rupees. Indian government has taken the decision to supply additional dollars. If you choose to supply additional dollars in market, if you choose to supply additional dollars in the market, then what happens? If you choose to supply additional dollars, I am Indian government, I am supplying US dollars. If I am supplying US dollars, what is happening? I am supplying US dollars. So I will buy something. So I will take rupees from the public and I will give dollars. है ना? For this purpose, अगर मुझे ये काम करना है किसी भी लेवल पे, कहीं भी अगर मुझे ये काम करना है, for this purpose I must have certain reserves. कुछ reserves of dollar हमारे पास होने चाहिए. एक जगह पर कुछ डॉलर पड़े होने चाहिए, तभी मैं ये काम कर सकता हूं, नहीं तो मैं काम कभी कर ही नहीं पाऊंगा. मेरे पास होंगे डॉलर तो मैं बेचूंगा ना, अगर मेरे पास है ही नहीं तो मैं बेचूंगा कैसे? So I need to have certain reserves of dollar. These reserves are called our forex reserves and these are maintained by RBI. Where these reserves come from? अभी हम देखते हैं. These reserves are called forex reserves or foreign exchange reserves, and they are maintained by RBI. This job of buying and selling of dollar is done by RBI to keep it fixed. इंडिया करता है या नहीं करता वो हम अभी देखते हैं, but RBI can theoretically do it. Now we have to understand two things. One, where do these reserves come from? And second, does RBI actually do this or not? क्या RBI ये करता है या नहीं करता? And where do these reserves come from? समझ आई ये बात? Is this clear? दोनों चीजें क्लियर है कि मेरे पास अगर ये काम करना है, I need to sell dollars, I need to have certain reserves. We will see if RBI does this or not, and we will see where these reserves come from. उससे पहले अब टाइप्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज रेट पढ़ लेते हैं. अब हमें एक्सचेंज रेट पढ़ने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. One type of exchange rate is fixed exchange rate. Fixed. If I want to fix the exchange rate, I need to control the demand and supply both. I need to have the ability that I can control both demand and supply. Now, before 1971, there was a dollar gold standard. Dollar, याद करो, gold standard we had read in money. Gold standard, right? क्या किया हुआ था? Dollar was fixed to gold. Dollar was fixed to the price of gold, and other currencies were fixed to dollar. So dollar was fixed to gold, and other currencies were fixed to dollar. ऐसे हमारा एक gold standard बना हुआ था earlier, but then we abandoned the gold standard. अब हमने gold इस टाइम पे, since everything is fixed to price of gold, आपने डॉलर को गोल्ड से फिक्स कर दिया और बाकी करेंसीज को डॉलर से फिक्स कर दिया, तो एक्सचेंज रेट विल स्टे फिक्स्ड. तभी होता था 1947 में $1 का $1 होता था. देखो अब हाल देखो. This is only those people say this who have not read economy. ठीक है, पहले फिक्स था टू गोल्ड. नाउ वी नो गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड हैज बीन अबॉन्डेंट. अब कोई गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है, राइट? वी नो दिस नाउ. Still some countries, India does not have it, still some countries have fixed exchange rate. They will not let their exchange rate get changed even slightly. They have something called fixed exchange rate. Some countries have fixed exchange rate. India does not. India does not have fixed exchange rate. Now, fixed exchange rate system is government must have the capability here of doing what? Government must have capability here of either controlling demand or supply, and government will keep it fixed, right? India में अब नहीं है ये. Some countries have it. I think Kuwait still has it, right? Now, there is a second type of exchange rate called floating exchange rate system. Floating exchange rate simply means market based exchange rate. जो हम देख रहे हैं कि government is not going to intervene. Free market. Government will not intervene in exchange rate market. आपने जैसे चलना है चलने दो. Floating exchange rate, whatever happens, let it happen. Demand supply will automatically control. I am not going to intervene. ठीक है, this is the second. Third is what most countries in the world follow, called mixed exchange rate. Mixed or dirty float or partial float. थोड़ा सा फ्लोट करने देंगे, पूरा फ्लोट भी नहीं करने देंगे. We will not float it completely and we will not fix it completely. We will not float it completely. We will have a fixed dirty float. Mixed system or dirty float system. Mixed system. इसमें हम क्या करते हैं? What do we do here? इसमें what do we do? एक क्वेश्चन मैं पूछूंगा ये सिस्टम बताने के बाद, जिसने उसका आंसर दे दिया मेरी तरफ से पक्का इनाम है आपको, पक्का. I will right now I will Paytm 200 rupees to you. ठीक है, अगर या चलो this is not a good gift to give, मैं आपको मूवी टिकट दे दूंगा एक, right? I'll give you a movie ticket if you can answer the question I'm going to ask after this. इसमें क्या होता है? गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया? गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि एक हमने लिमिट बना दी है ₹100. एक हमने लिमिट बना दी है ₹60. हमने ये लिमिट बना दी है. इसके बीच में इसके बीच में वी विल लेट द डिमांड सप्लाई कर्व्स ऑपरेट, इसके बीच में वी विल लेट द डिमांड सप्लाई कर्व ऑपरेट, कहीं भी जाएगा, ये प्राइस है, डिमांड सप्लाई कर्व के इंटरसेक्शन पे देयर विल बी प्राइस, ऐसे 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 जो होगा होने दो, कुछ भी होने दो, वी विल नॉट लेट इट गो बिलो 60, वी विल नॉट लेट इट गो अबव 100, ना हम बिलो 60 जाने देंगे ना हम अबव 100 जाने देंगे, राइट, वी विल ऑलवेज कीप इट फिक्स्ड हियर, ऐसे ही फिक्स रखेंगे। इसमें इस वेरिएशन में डिमांड सप्लाई शिफ्ट होके कुछ भी होता है होने दो, वी विल नॉट लेट इट गो अबव 100, वी विल नॉट लेट इट गो बिलो 60। एक ये तरीका है। दूसरा तरीका ऑफ डर्टी फ्लोट या मिक्स्ड फ्लोट इज कि आप ये टारगेट्स मत लगाओ, यू डोंट पुट दीज टारगेट्स, यू डोंट टारगेट एक्सचेंज रेट, यू टारगेट समथिंग कॉल्ड वॉलेटिलिटी। वॉलेटिलिटी मींस इफ देयर इज वेरी क्विक इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज, एक दिन में ही डॉलर 10% बढ़ गया, एक दिन में रुपी 5% गिर गया, you will not let the rate go above rupees 100 or below rupees 60, you will say I will not let the rate go above rupees 100 or below rupees 60, and you say I will not allow excess volatility, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि यहां से सीधा यहां आ गया, if it is gradual decline like this then I am not worried till it reaches my limit, gradual decline में मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लिमिट में रहेगा और ग्रेजुअल डिक्लाइन होगा या ग्रेजुअल राइज होगा, ग्रेजुअल डिक्लाइन और ग्रेजुअल राइज is not a problem for me, right, this is not a problem for me, but if it happens that it suddenly goes up or down then it's a problem, volatility problem, if it breaches this limit, इस लिमिट के ऊपर या इस लिमिट के नीचे then it's a problem, ठीक है, समझ आया, this is what is mixed exchange rate और dirty float, mixed or dirty float, this is what India also follows and most countries in the world follow this, ऑलमोस्ट दुनिया की सारी कंट्रीज यही फॉलो करती हैं। इज दिस क्लियर? तो आरबीआई ने एक लिमिट लगा रखी है कि डॉलर को हम 100 रुपीज से महंगा नहीं होने देंगे, डॉलर को हम 60 रुपए से सस्ता नहीं होने देंगे, ठीक है। नाउ कम्स द क्वेश्चन, आरबीआई हैज पुट दिस लिमिट। अब आपने अगर इसका जवाब दे दिया तो आपको मतलब आपने एक्चुअली क्लासेस ढंग से सुनी है, पढ़ा मैं आपको चुका हूं, ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने पढ़ाया नहीं है। आरबीआई हैज फिक्स सम लिमिट, आरबीआई ने एक लिमिट लगा दी 60 रुपीज की, 100 रुपीज की, ठीक है। इफ आरबीआई डिक्लेयर्स दिस लिमिट पब्लिकली, आरबीआई सबको अगर बता दे कि ये लिमिट हमने लगा रखी है, व्हाट हैपेंस? अगर आरबीआई ने इस लिमिट को पब्लिकली डिक्लेयर कर दिया तो क्या होगा? अगर नहीं समझ आता, नहीं पता चल रहा, से आई डोंट नो, इफ यू डोंट नो से आई डोंट नो, गलत आंसर मत जाओ। The first correct answer I saw was from Anang. So Anang, I will send you some gift. I can get your number from the app. I will ask the team and I will send you some gift. If this happens, that was the first. एक ही को दे सकता हूं मैं, एक ही को दे सकता हूं, सबको नहीं दूंगा, okay? If this happens, the moment, अब देखो, अब मुझे पता है, now I know, देखो पहले तो ट्रस्ट लॉस वगैरह कुछ नहीं होगा। ट्रस्ट लॉस में क्या है, लोग फिक्स करके बैठे अपनी करेंसी, पीपल हैव फिक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट्स, इवन देन इज करेंसी लॉस्ट, इज ट्रस्ट लॉस्ट। दुनिया में बहुत जगह करेंसी रेट्स फिक्स्ड हैं, तो क्या ट्रस्ट लूज हो गया? नहीं, आपने फिक्स किया हुआ है, आपने बता रखा है, हमने इस पे फिक्स किया हुआ है, दिख रहा है दुनिया को कि आपने फिक्स करा हुआ है। यहां तो आप फिक्स नहीं कर रहे, आप बस एक अपर लोअर लिमिट लगा रहे हो, तो ट्रस्ट लॉस की तो यहां कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है। I know that this upper limit is rupees 100. I know this upper lower limit is rupees 60. Dollar price reaches here. Dollar price reaches 99 rupees. Now, where is the price going to go? Where is the price going to go? I know now that price is going to go down. I know price is going to go down. मुझे पता है कि प्राइस अब तो डाउन जाने वाला है, right? What will I do? I will speculate. It will hugely increase the speculative demand of money, which is not what RBI wants. I will speculate. लिमिट लगाने का पॉइंट क्या हुआ? If I declare this limit, the speculative demand will increase. Speculative demand is also something that controls this. Speculative demand भी इसको कंट्रोल करती है. If I declare the limit, I can't control speculative demand. If I can't control speculative demand, I can't control this. Because speculation was also a factor. अब याद करो, speculation भी इसमें एक factor है. Wait, where is it? Speculation was also a factor here. है ना? ये भी एक फैक्टर था. ये फैक्टर अब मैं कंट्रोल ही नहीं कर सकता. Because people will speculate. Everyone will speculate. Because RBI is going to do this. Right? Now putting the limits makes no sense. So I will put the limit, but I will never declare it. मेरे दिमाग में लिमिट है, मैं जाने नहीं दूंगा उसके beyond, but if I declare it, the speculative demand of money will increase. And RBI's now ability to control the money supply goes away. समझ आया? Is this clear? Why limits are not declared? Is this clear? क्यों मैंने लिमिट डिक्लेयर नहीं करी? ठीक है. Now, ये हम पढ़ चुके हैं. अब एक चीज बस बता देता हूं. If you are operating in a fixed exchange rate, अगर कोई कंट्री फिक्स्ड एक्सचेंज रेट सिस्टम में है, एक्सचेंज इज रिटन एज एक्स इन इकोनॉमिक्स, फिक्स्ड XRS. If you are in a fixed exchange rate system, then if there is a change, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आपने फिक्स किया हुआ है, गवर्नमेंट विल डिसाइड द चेंज. गवर्नमेंट ने फिक्स किया हुआ है, इट इज $1 इक्वल टू ₹50. Government decides, now let us make it $1 equal to ₹55. Government is deciding the change. Government has decided the change. In this case, it is called devaluation or revaluation. मतलब गवर्नमेंट ने पहले फिक्स किया हुआ था $1 equal to ₹50. Now government says $1 will be equal to ₹55. This is devaluation. Government has changed the value by itself. If you are in a floating exchange rate system, then what happens? In a floating exchange rate system, this thing will happen automatically because of demand and supply. If in a floating exchange rate system this thing happens, that $1 was equal to ₹50 and now $1 has become equal to ₹60, let's say. ये अपने आप हुआ है because of demand and supply. You have not done it. Value of dollar has gone up. So, and value of rupee has gone down. Dollar महंगा हो गया, rupee सस्ता हो गया. Right? This will be called depreciation or appreciation. ये टर्म सेम नहीं है. सबको लगता है ये टर्म सेम है. These are not the same terms. Depreciation, appreciation and devaluation, revaluation are not the same terms. Devaluation, revaluation is when you control it. Depreciation, appreciation is when it happens automatically. समझ आए? ये टर्म्स याद कर लो. Like at least know the meaning of these terms. I am changing the value versus value is changing automatically on the basis of demand and supply. Depreciation and appreciation versus devaluation and revaluation. समझ आया? Now, Let us now come to the last concept in economics that we have to read. I don't think इसके बाद कोई concept होगा. इसके बाद there is merely theory. कोई concept नहीं है इसके बाद. Actually there is merely theory. The last concept is called balance of payments. So this is actually the last concept that I'm going to teach you. I hope अभी तक मजा आया हो. Unfortunately इस concept में कोई graph नहीं है, but it is very easy to understand. अगर revenue account, capital account तब समझ आ गया था तो this is very easy to understand. Balance of payments. Balance of payments. Like major concept. Of course हमें कल कुछ चीजें पढ़नी है, but last major concept. Balance of payments. Balance of payments is nothing but a statement of transactions between Indians and rest of the world. A statement of transactions between India and the rest of the world. इंडिया में बाहर से कितना पैसा आया और इंडिया से बाहर कितना पैसा गया. Balance of payments is nothing but this statement of transactions. How much money came to India and how much money went abroad. This is balance of payments. Now, balance of payments has two accounts. One account is called current account. Current account. One is called capital account. Current account and capital account. Let us try to understand the differences in current and capital account. This is a bank. Bank gives me a loan. I take this loan. I have some of my own money, let's say some savings I have. From this loan and these savings, from you, I purchase a house. You give me a house and I purchase this house, so I give you certain money. ठीक है? Now, in this transaction, भूल जाओ पीछे का, अपने पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचो. In this transaction, is there any future liability left? Future liability का मतलब क्या है? Is this a settled transaction? क्या ये settled या balanced transaction है? Settled transaction. Settled means settle हो गया. मैंने आपको रुपीस दे दिए, आपने मुझे हाउस दे दिया. Settled the transaction. Is this a settled transaction? Yes or no? Question है, दोबारा बोलता हूं question. Is this a settled transaction or not? For you. मेरे साइड से छोड़ो, आप अपने लिए बताओ. For you, is this a settled transaction? For you. Is this a settled transaction or not? For you, this is of course a settled transaction. आपको क्या लेना देना मैंने कहां से पैसे दिए? लोन रीपे करने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मेरी है, आपकी थोड़ी है. आपने मुझे हाउस दिया, आपने पैसे ले लिए. फॉर यू दिस इज अ सेटल्ड ट्रांजैक्शन. यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग नाउ. आपको कुछ नहीं करना. अब आपने इस ट्रांजैक्शन को सेटल कर लिया है. यू हैव सेटल्ड दिस ट्रांजैक्शन. एंड at least from your perspective, I have settled the transaction. I have taken a house from you. From your perspective, the transaction is settled. For me, for you, ये transaction settled है. ये transaction is settled. This transaction is not settled. ये transaction settled नहीं है. This is not a settled transaction. Because I will have to repay this loan. This transaction is not complete. This transaction creates some future liability in terms of interest. This transaction will create a future liability. This is not a settled transaction. This is a settled transaction. समझ आया? Yellow is not settled. Green is settled. यहां पर तो बात खत्म हो गई ना. ये मुझे करना है अभी. This loan I have to pay. For you it is settled. You are sorted. With regards to you, I am sorted. मैंने आपको जितने पैसे देने थे दे दिए. अभी ये लोन है जो मुझे रीपे करना है ना. इज दिस क्लियर? समझ आई ये बात? चलो बढ़िया. These transactions which are settled, they will go into your current account. Sorry, arrow गलत बना दिया. Settled transactions will go into current account. ये बहुत ही अजीब लग रहा है. Settled transactions will go into current account. Unsettled means they have created some future liability. These transactions will go into capital account. If they create some future liability such as repayment, if they create some future liability such as profit repayment, शेयर खरीदे आपने तो एक future liability है. Somebody buys shares of my company. Now I have future liability to pay back certain profit to them. अब मुझे उनको profit देना पड़ेगा, right? These transactions, any such transaction that creates a future liability, I buy shares of a company. I buy shares of Reliance Industries Limited. I will give Reliance money. Reliance will give me shares. Does this transaction create a future liability? Does this transaction create a future liability? Yes, it does. Because Reliance will have to give me now certain profits. I am part owner. So Reliance will have to share certain profits with me. So this transaction will go into capital account. This transaction will go into capital account. Now, so there are two accounts: current account, which is settled transactions, current account, which is settled transactions, and capital account, which have a future impact. Settled transactions in current account, capital account में future impact. Now, ultimately, money that is coming into the country has to be balanced with money going out of the country. Because when money comes into the country, it will get converted from dollar to rupee. When money goes out of the country, it will get converted from rupee to dollar. Money comes into the country. किसी ने इंडिया में कुछ ट्रांजैक्शन करनी है, they will have to convert from dollar to rupee. Money goes out, rupee will have to be converted to dollar. So the amount of these transactions will not be same. आप समझो, ऐसा नहीं है कि अमाउंट सेम होगा, जितना बाहर से आ रहा है उतना ही बाहर जा रहा है. अमाउंट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी सेम. But since there is a conversion process involved, there needs to be a balance. This balancing has to be done. Balancing करनी पड़ेगी of these transactions. I will have to balance these transactions. I don't have to make them equal. It does not have to be कि जितना पैसा अंदर आया उतना ही बाहर गया. नहीं तो फिर याद करो हमने लीकेजेस और इंजेक्शंस पढ़े क्यों थे. But I have to balance these transactions. समझ रहे हो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं? I have to balance these because there is a conversion involved. Because there is a conversion of currency involved, I have to balance these transactions. So therefore, the balance of payments is like this. Here there is current account. Here there is capital account. I will see all the transactions in current account. Current account की मैं पूरी इंडिया की transactions देखूंगा. When money enters into the country, जब money इंडिया में आता है, I will mark it as plus. When money goes out of the country, I will mark it as minus. Money comes into India, I will say plus. Money goes out of India, I will say minus. Capital account में भी money comes into India, I will mark as plus. Money goes out of India, I will mark as minus. यहां पर भी कुछ वैल्यू आएगी. Let's say +20 -30. यहां पर भी कुछ वैल्यू आएगी +50 -10. So now what is the balance of payments? It is +70 -40 equal to +30. I have to balance this in terms of conversion of currency. मुझे बैलेंस करना पड़ेगा ये in terms of conversion of currency. I don't have to make them equal. मैं यहां पे I will not make them equal. I will just balance them in terms of conversion. Conversion क्या है? Demand और supply of rupee. Conversion is nothing but demand and supply of rupee, demand and supply of dollars. The curves have to meet, na? Ultimately, the curves have to meet somewhere. I will have to balance it. This balance of payment is nothing but meeting of those curves. I will have to balance this. Since conversion process is a sovereign function. Rupee is coming from, actually who is producing rupee? RBI. Who is producing dollar? US का RBI या Federal Reserve of US? So there has to be a balance in conversion. There has to be a balance in conversion. I am just balancing this in terms of conversion. यहां पर कोई भी वैल्यूज हो, मुझे बस बैलेंस करना है इन टर्म्स ऑफ कन्वर्जन. इज दिस क्लियर? जो मैंने बात बोली, इस पे क्वेश्चन आ चुका है प्रीलिम्स में. व्हाट आई हैव जस्ट सेड, I have to balance in terms of conversion. I have to balance in terms of conversion. ठीक है, अब देखते हैं. पहले इनके कंपोनेंट्स देखते हैं कि करंट अकाउंट में क्या क्या होता है, कैपिटल अकाउंट में क्या क्या होता है. फिर दो डिफरेंसेस पढ़ेंगे बिटवीन एफडीआई एंड एफपीआई. फिर देखेंगे कि ये बैलेंस कैसे होता है. ठीक है. नाउ in current account there are two things. In current account there are two things. करंट अकाउंट में है, पहले होते हैं विजिबल्स, एक होते हैं इनविजिबल्स. विजिबल मींस थिंग्स दैट आई कैन टच एंड फील, थिंग्स दैट आई कैन टच. दिस इज विजिबल, राइट? दिस इज विजिबल, राइट? जो मुझे दिख रहा है. विजिबल इंक्लूड्स ट्रेड इन गुड्स. If I purchase a good from you, I purchase this pen from an American. I purchase this pen from American. I give money to him. Is any future liability considered, or is this transaction settled? Is this transaction settled or not? This transaction is settled, right? मैंने पेन खरीदा और मैंने पैसे दे दिए, हो गई ट्रांजैक्शन सेटल्ड. मैं कहीं से भी लाया हूं वो पैसे. इन दिस आउटसाइड एंड इनसाइड इंडिया इट इज सेटल्ड. आउटसाइड इनसाइड इंडिया का अकाउंट देख रहे हैं हम. So trade in goods, this is visible aspect of current account. Second is invisibles. Invisibles include three things. One is trade in services. If an American wants to buy these lectures, right? He will pay certain money to Sarthi IS. Sarthi IS will deliver these lectures to him. These lectures are not visibles. They are not, you cannot see them being traded. They are not goods, they are services. They are an education service. Trade in services. This is also a settled transaction. अब कोई future liability तो create नहीं हो रही इससे. No future liability is created because of this transaction. This is also settled transaction. So trade in services. Clear? Trade in services clear? Trade in services. है ना? अच्छा, नेक्स्ट थिंग आती है इनकम्स. इनकम्स. I gave my labor to some American company. Sitting here, I did some work for an American company. American company paid me certain money. I gave my labor, they paid me back money. Incomes. This is what? This is factor income. I have given a factor of production. Sitting here, I work for an American company, an American company pays me money. Settled transaction. I gave labor, I got back income. Settled transaction. So incomes from abroad. Similarly, some American will be getting some income from India. दोनों साइड से होगा ये. There will be some money coming into India, some money going out of India. कोई इंडियन कंपनी किसी अमेरिकन को पे कर रही होगी, कोई अमेरिकन कंपनी किसी इंडियन को पे कर रही होगी. सेटल्ड ट्रांजैक्शन. लास्ट इज ट्रांसफर्स. रिमेंबर वी हैव रेड ट्रांसफर पेमेंट्स. ट्रांसफर पेमेंट क्या होगा? माय चाची लिव्स इन यूएसए, शी सेंड्स मी सर्टेन मनी. I have not given any factor of production. She just sends me money out of love. She lives in USA, she sends me certain money. This is transfer payment. ऐसे ही कुछ इंडियंस भी ट्रांसफर कर रहे होंगे पेमेंट बाहर, कोई फैक्टर ऑफ प्रोडक्शन एक्सचेंज नहीं हुआ, बट डज इट क्रिएट अ फ्यूचर लायबिलिटी? इट इज लाइक अ ग्रांट. पेड ट्रांसफर, ट्रांसफर पेड, सॉर्टेड. ये भी समझ आया? ट्रांसफर्स. Chachi has paid me certain money. I don't have to do anything now. It is simply out of love. Transfers. है ना? These are the components of current account. How will I make now the current account? Let's say I want to create India's current accounts. I will check trade in goods. I will check exports. And I will check imports. Exports का क्या मतलब? What do you mean by exports? Export means that from India a good has gone abroad. That means money has come into India. Money has come into India. हाँ, रेमिटेंसेस पे आएंगे अभी. रेमिटेंसेस आर ट्रांसफर्स ओनली. एक्सपोर्ट क्लियर हो रहा है? गुड गॉन अब्रॉड, इंडियन गुड हैज गॉन अब्रॉड, इंडियन गुड हैज गॉन अब्रॉड, मनी हैज कम फ्रॉम फॉरेन कंट्री टू इंडिया. शुड आई राइट दिस मनी इन पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव? मैं यहां पॉजिटिव लिखूं या नेगेटिव लिखूं एक्सपोर्ट्स में? Should I write positive or negative? Of course I should write positive. So I will write, let's say, plus 10. In imports, imports are different. Good has come to India, money has gone abroad, so I will write some negative. Let's say I write minus 20. Trade in services, like goods, services can also be traded. Services can also be traded. So services export, let's say I write plus 30. Services import, I write, let's say, minus 10. Then incomes. Some income would be coming. Some income would be coming from foreign countries to India. Foreign countries to India. That I will write in positive. Let's say I write plus 10. Some income comes from foreign countries to India. Some income goes from Indian companies abroad. Some income goes from Indian companies abroad. Let's say I write minus 50. Transfers. People will be giving money from abroad to Indians without any exchange of factors of production. There is no exchange of factors of production, but people are sending money, simply sending money to India, like remittances. India is the largest recipient of remittances in the world. Since India has a huge diaspora, Indians work in the Gulf region, in Europe, in America, and they send money to their families. So remittances. I write, let's say here, money coming into India in remittances. Let's say I write plus 40. Certain money will be going abroad. Some Americans will be working here and they will be sending money abroad. Let's say I write minus 20. Now I will create India's current account. What are the positive terms here? 30 plus 40 plus 20, so 90. Minus 50, 90, 100. 90 minus 100. Overall, minus 10. So what does the current account denote? What does the current account denote? What does the current account denote? That more money has left the country. 10 rupees, ये 10 crores भी हो सकता है ना? 10 rupees has gone out of India in these things. In visible and invisible trade, 10 rupees has gone outside India. Net सारा बैलेंस करने के बाद टोटल अगर मैं सारी ट्रांजैक्शंस देख लूं तो इंडिया से 10 रुपए बाहर गए हैं. राइट? देयर इज अ डेफिसिट. पैसा बाहर ज्यादा गया है, अंदर कम आया है. पैसा बाहर ज्यादा गया है, अंदर कम आया है. So in our current account there is a deficit. More money has gone out of the country than has come into the country. ये टर्म सुन रखी होगी, करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट. दिस इज व्हाट इट मींस. ये सारा कुछ बैलेंस करके वी कम टू करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट. अरे नहीं, इट डज नॉट मीन इंपोर्ट इज मोर देन एक्सपोर्ट. यही तो मैं आपको समझा रहा हूं. करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट डज नॉट मीन इंपोर्ट इज मोर देन एक्सपोर्ट, क्योंकि इसमें ये फैक्टर्स भी तो हैं. इसमें ये फैक्टर्स भी तो हैं. देखो, सर्विसेज एक्सपोर्ट इज मोर. इट इज बैलेंस ऑफ ऑल फोर. Balance of all four, not only import and export. Import and export is only, out of all of this, import and export is only this. Current account deficit is not merely import and export. Current account deficit includes all of this. समझ आई बात आपको? करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट इंक्लूड्स ऑल दीज फोर टर्म्स. करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट इंक्लूड्स ऑल दीज फोर टर्म्स. समझ आया आपको? इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट सिर्फ इन केसेस में था. अरे, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट वाज ओनली फॉर दीज केसेस. इनकम्स को थोड़ी हम इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट लिखते हैं, ट्रांसफर्स को थोड़ी इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट लिखते हैं, है ना? अब बताओ, ये हुआ करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट, चारों सब मिला के. लेट्स से आई कैलकुलेट दिस अकाउंट सेपरेटली. I calculate this account separately. If I calculate this account separately, I will say plus 10, plus 30, minus 20, minus 10. मतलब overall plus 10. This is my trade balance. So I have right now, as per this, I have a trade surplus. Or I have a trade deficit. अगर मैं सिर्फ ये ट्रेड वाली चीजें अलग से लिखूं तो ट्रेड डेफिसिट और ट्रेड सरप्लस. अगर मैं पूरा लिखूं तो करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट या करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस. इज दिस क्लियर? बैलेंस ऑफ ट्रेड एंड बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स आर नॉट द सेम थिंग. समझ आया? ट्रेड डेफिसिट और करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट. Trade deficit or current account deficit. Clear? Now similarly I can make this in capital accounts. ऐसे ही मैं capital accounts की statement बनाता हूं. Let's come to capital accounts. Capital accounts are things that have a future impact. So it includes things like investment, loans and borrowing. Investment, loans and borrowing. है ना? Investments create a future impact because you have to pay back profit. Loans create a future impact because you have to pay back interest. है ना? अब आपसे एक दो क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं. इन इनकम्स में, इन दीज इनकम्स, what are the four things that will be included? What are the four things that will be included? What are the four incomes? याद करो यार, circular flow of income model. What are the four things that will be included in incomes? What are the four things? अरे लैंड लेबर इज फैक्टर ऑफ प्रोडक्शन. इनकम क्या होती है? गुड. वेजेस, इंटरेस्ट, प्रॉफिट एंड रेंट. वेजेस, इंटरेस्ट, प्रॉफिट एंड रेंट. सो प्रॉफिट ट्रांसफर. अब देखो, ध्यान से समझना. एन अमेरिकन buys shares of Reliance. So American gives money to Reliance. Reliance gives certain shares. So American becomes part owner. Then later Reliance will give profit to American because he is now part owner. He is, let's say, 2% owner of Reliance. Reliance will share 2% profit. ये जो ट्रांजैक्शन हुई है, ये दिस इज वन. ये मैं कौन से अकाउंट में लिखूं? और यहां पर भी कुछ रुपीस गए हैं, ये मैं कौन से अकाउंट में लिखूं? वेयर शुड आई राइट दिस? लॉजिकली सोचोगे तो कोई डाउट नहीं आएगा. उल्टा लिख दिया उमंग. सही सोच रहे हो पर उल्टा लिख दिया. ये क्या है? ये हुआ क्या है? ये शेयर परचेज हुआ है. ग्रीन में क्या हुआ है? शेयर परचेज. दिस इज शेयर परचेज. मनी फॉर शेयर परचेज. Share purchase is investment. He is purchasing ownership. This will be capital. Capital account. Investment है ना. इस पैसे की वजह से एक फ्यूचर लायबिलिटी बन गई ना रिलायंस के ऊपर. शेयर्स दे दिए रिलायंस ने. नाउ फ्यूचर लायबिलिटी इज क्रिएटेड. दिस इज कैपिटल. Profit is part of wages, interest, profit, rent. This is income. This will be in current account. है ना? समझ आई बात? ये करंट अकाउंट है, ये कैपिटल अकाउंट है. समझ आया? यस. चलो लास्ट एग्जांपल, एक और क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं. एन अमेरिकन ट्रेवल्स टू इंडिया. After traveling to India, he spent certain money here on hotels. Some money spent on hotels, on restaurants, whatever. Whatever money he pays here, he will pay certain money here. Where should I write this money in balance of payments? American travels to India. He pays certain money to hotels, to restaurants, etc. Where should I write this money? करंट अकाउंट तो ठीक है. इंपोर्ट और एक्सपोर्ट. इंपोर्ट, एक्सपोर्ट, गुड्स, सर्विसेज. कहां लिखूं? इन चार में से, आउट ऑफ दीज फोर, 1 2 3 4, वेयर शुड आई राइट? है तो करंट अकाउंट ऑफ कोर्स. क्या है ये? This is nothing but export of tourism. Service is here tourism. Service is tourism. This is export of tourism service. Export of tourism service. How else will tourism get exported? टूरिज्म भी तो एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं हम. वन ऑफ द सर्विसेज वी एक्सपोर्ट इज टूरिज्म. दिस इज एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ टूरिज्म. He has physically come, therefore it is tourism because he is himself tourist. This is export of tourism services. Clear? Export of tourism services. समझ आया? इस पे क्वेश्चन आ चुका है एग्जाम में, इसलिए बता रहा हूं. एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ टूरिज्म सर्विस. Now let's look at investment. अब देखो, this is what balance of payments look like. दिख रहा है ये बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स? पढ़ते हैं जरा. इंडिया का एक्चुअल बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स है ये फ्रॉम इंडियन express. read what is written in current account balance. पहले बताया करंट अकाउंट बैलेंस क्या है. ट्रेड बैलेंस मतलब गुड्स का बैलेंस, सिर्फ गुड्स का बैलेंस है -135. Invisibles they are saying services, transfers, income. Invisibles balance is 109 plus 109. Invisible balance is plus 09. So trade deficit, trade नहीं लिखना चाहिए, goods deficit, goods trade deficit, goods trade deficit, invisibles surplus. Invisibles में ज्यादा है, goods में नेगेटिव है. टोटल करंट अकाउंट फिगर इज -26, -26.6. क्लियर? यहां तक क्लियर? ये समझ आ रहा है ना? इतना क्लियर? अब कैपिटल अकाउंट देखते हैं. कैपिटल अकाउंट बैलेंस. फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट, दो टाइप की फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट है, एफडीआई और एफपीआई. ये अभी देखते हैं, इसमें डिफरेंस छोड़ दो, ये मैं बताता हूं. एफडीआई एंड एफपीआई. देन बोरोविंग्स, क्रेडिट, बैंकिंग कैपिटल, एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस. ये एक एक्सेप्शन है. एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस क्या होती है? व्हाट इज एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस? ग्रांट्स आर एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस. Grants are external assistance to us. We will also give grants to someone. We will also give grants to someone. We will also give grants. And we will also receive grants. Technically, this should come in current account. Technically, ये current account में आना चाहिए. This should come in current account because no future liability is created. But we, for this purpose, we see that a grant is an infinite loan at 0% rate of interest. अब ये थोड़ी anomaly है. This is an anomaly. I agree this is an anomaly. इसलिए हमें याद करना पड़ेगा. ये है anomaly. This is why I am showing you the actual figures. तो क्या क्या लिखा है इन्होंने कैपिटल अकाउंट में? फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट, बैंकिंग कैपिटल, ये भी इन्वेस्टमेंट ही है, क्रेडिट, एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस, एक्सटर्नल कमर्शियल बोरोइंग्स, India's borrowings from external commercial entities, and some other items. Right? Ideally, this external assistance should not be here, but it is here. इसकी डिटेल में नहीं जाते हैं. This is an anomaly. ये है anomaly. ठीक है? This is an anomaly. ये हमारे लॉजिक से अलग है. In any textbook, you will read this as anomaly. Right? तो क्या क्या चीजें हैं? इन्वेस्टमेंट, क्रेडिट यानी कि लोन्स या एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस. इसमें देखते हैं. इन्वेस्टमेंट इन्होंने लिखा +24.9. ओके. बैंकिंग कैपिटल +12.6, शॉर्ट टर्म क्रेडिट +13.3, एक्सटर्नल असिस्टेंस +2.7, एक्सटर्नल कमर्शियल बोरोइंग्स +4.9, अदर आइटम्स +31. कर कुरा के कैपिटल अकाउंट पे हमारा नंबर आया, 90. सो कैपिटल अकाउंट, इन कैपिटल अकाउंट इट इज रिटन +90. इन करंट अकाउंट इट इज रिटन -26. Grants do not create future liability. It is an anomaly. Anomaly है ये. ट्रेड डेफिसिट रॉन्ग है बिकॉज ट्रेड डेफिसिट में सर्विसेज ट्रेड भी काउंट होना चाहिए. इसलिए वहां क्या लिखा है? कॉमन पार्लेंस. ऊपर वर्ड देखो वहां, कॉमन पार्लेंस, नॉट इकोनॉमिक डेफिनेशन. कॉमन पार्लेंस इज पीपल हाउ दे स्पीक. कौशिका, डिड आई से एसेट इज क्रिएटेड और डिड आई से सेटल्ड? डिड आई से सेटल्ड अकाउंट? ये बताओ, सेटल्ड या नहीं? सेटल्ड है ना ट्रांजैक्शन. इज दिस क्लियर? यहां पर क्या लिखा है? करंट अकाउंट में -26, कैपिटल अकाउंट में +90. यहां पर कुछ भी प्लस है मतलब मनी, प्लस का मतलब क्या था यहां, व्हाट वाज द मीनिंग ऑफ प्लस? अब कंफ्यूज मत हो यार, ये सारी बातें पढ़ चुके हैं हम, एप्लीकेशन देख रहे हैं। प्लस मींस मनी कमिंग इनटू इंडिया, मनी कमिंग इनटू इंडिया, माइनस मींस मनी गोइंग अब्रॉड। In our capital account, after all the transactions are counted together, $90 have come into India. In current account, after all the transactions are counted together, $26 have gone out. Plus 90 minus 26. नहीं साक्षी, यहां नहीं लगाएंगे वो लॉजिक। दिस इज नॉट रेवेन्यू एंड कैपिटल, ये रेवेन्यू अकाउंट एंड कैपिटल अकाउंट नहीं है, ये करंट अकाउंट और कैपिटल अकाउंट है, इसलिए उससे कंफ्यूज मत करो। आई डिड नॉट से एसेट क्रिएशन हेयर, मैंने यहां वर्ड एसेट क्रिएशन की बात नहीं करी है। What have I said here? I have said future liability or settled transaction, because this word is not revenue, this word is current account. There is a difference between those two. वहां पर क्या था, revenue account and capital account, यहां क्या है, current account and capital account. Current means settled currently, settled in current meaning settled currently versus not settled currently, वो अलग डिफरेंस है, ये अलग डिफरेंस है। Is it clear? सो कैपिटल अकाउंट इंक्लूड्स इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड लोन्स, या तो इन्वेस्टमेंट है या किसी तरह की लोन है। इफ आई टेक लोन फ्रॉम बैंक ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क, डॉलर्स आर कमिंग इनटू इंडिया और नॉट? आई हैव टेकन लोन फ्रॉम बैंक ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क, बैंक ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क से मैं लोन लूंगा, डॉलर्स विल बी कन्वर्टेड टू रुपी, आई विल गेट डॉलर्स, देन आई विल कन्वर्ट टू रुपी एंड यूज हियर। डॉलर्स हैव कम इनटू इंडिया इफ आई हैव टेकन लोन फ्रॉम बैंक ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क। बाद में मुझे रीपे करना है, वो तब देखेंगे व्हेन आई पे देम बैक देयर इंटरेस्ट, तब वो इंटरेस्ट में देखेंगे बाद में। अभी क्या होगा, अभी आई विल काउंट दिस एज मनी कमिंग इनटू इंडिया। क्लियर? समझ आई बात? कैपिटल अकाउंट, मनी कमिंग इनटू इंडिया। सो अब मैं क्या बोलूं, फ्रॉम दिस व्हाट कैन आई से, फ्रॉम दिस व्हाट कैन आई से, आई कैन से फ्रॉम दिस फिगर दैट इन आवर कैपिटल अकाउंट आफ्टर एडिंग ऑल द ट्रांजैक्शंस, कैपिटल लिख देते हैं, इन आवर कैपिटल अकाउंट after adding all the transactions in our capital account, 90 rupees or let's say dollars, $90 came to India. In our current account, after adding all the transaction, $26 went outside India. Yes? क्लियर व्हाट इज सेड? ये बोर्ड पे जो लिखा है ये समझ आ रहा है? Is this clear what is written on the board? Now we have in this figure we have a capital account surplus, capital account पे we have a surplus, in current account we have a deficit, capital account surplus, current account deficit. Clear? Current account deficit and capital account surplus. Is it clear? Current account deficit and capital account surplus. Now more dollars have entered India, $90 have entered India, $90 have come to India, $26 have gone out, $90 have come to India, $26 have gone out. What is the increase in India's reserve of dollars? What is the Indian increase in reserve? Increase in reserve 64? अरे 74 नहीं यार, सी साइड में फेल हो जाओगे. There is an increase of $64 in India. This is only for conversion purposes. I am balancing this for conversion purposes. Balancing this for conversion purposes. समझ आ रहा है ना? I am not making these transactions same. I am just converting this. मेरे को किसी ने, who will do this conversion? Ultimate conversion कौन करेगा ये? Who has rupees to convert this? Who will do this conversion? कौन करेगा ये conversion? RBI will do it. Good. So RBI will maintain this foreign exchange reserve for the purposes of conversion. RBI will maintain this reserve for the purposes of conversion, since RBI is the one who creates rupees. RBI is the one who creates rupees. So RBI will maintain this for purposes of conversion. अब आरबीआई की बैलेंस शीट याद करो. आरबीआई की बैलेंस शीट में फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स थे जाके रिवाइज करना. ठीक है. आरबीआई विल मेंटेन दिस अकाउंट. ठीक है. देयर हैज बीन इंक्रीज ऑफ $64. $64 का इंक्रीज हुआ है. हाउ विल आई राइट दिस ट्रांजैक्शन? आई विल राइट कैपिटल अकाउंट प्लस 90, करंट अकाउंट माइनस 26, टोटल इंक्रीज इज प्लस 64. ऐसे लिखूंगा. अगर मुझे इस ट्रांजैक्शन को बैलेंस करना है, व्हाट इज द फिगर दैट आई नीड टू राइट हियर? इफ आई हैव टू राइट बैलेंस अ ट्रांजैक्शन टू बैलेंस दीज पेमेंट्स, व्हाट विल आई राइट हियर? व्हाट डू आई नीड टू राइट हियर नाउ? अगर मुझे इसको फाइनली जीरो करना है, व्हाट विल आई नीड टू राइट? I will need to write minus 64. मुझे minus 64 लिखना पड़ेगा to make this zero. To make this zero, I will have to write minus 64. To make this zero, I will have to write minus 64. I am writing minus 64. What has actually happened? Actual क्या हुआ है? Forex reserves, foreign exchange reserves have increased by ₹64. or $64, sorry. Foreign exchange reserves have increased by $64, but to make it zero, I am writing minus 64. Yes? To make it zero, I am writing minus 64. Actually, $64 have increased in my Forex reserves. है ना? Yes or no? यस नो बोलो यार, फिर आगे चलें. खत्म हो गया ये कॉन्सेप्ट. तो अब देखते हैं एक्चुअली क्या लिखा है आरबीआई की बैलेंस शीट में. टोटल चेंज इन रिजर्व्स. टोटल चेंज इन रिजर्व्स इन द शीट दैट इज प्रिपेयर्ड, व्हाट इज रिटन इन टोटल चेंज ऑफ रिजर्व्स? माइनस 63.5. माइनस 64 मान लेते हैं हम, थोड़ा डेसिमल्स हमने इग्नोर किए. माइनस 64 इज रिटन हियर, टोटल चेंज ऑफ रिजर्व्स. बट साथ में एक और बात भी लिखी है, माइनस शोज एन इंक्रीज प्लस शोज अ डिक्रीज. माइनस शोज एन एक्चुअल इंक्रीज, माइनस शोज एन इंक्रीज प्लस शोज अ डिक्रीज. ये लिखा है यहां पे, माइनस शोज एन इंक्रीज प्लस शोज अ डिक्रीज. माइनस शोज एन इंक्रीज प्लस शोज अ डिक्रीज. ये कन्वेंशन है यार, हाउ एल्स विल बी राइट इट? मेरे को जीरो तो दिखाना है ना भार्गव, वो लिखा है तभी वहां पर इट इज ऑलरेडी रिटन दैट माइनस शोज एन इंक्रीज प्लस शोज ए डिक्रीज, क्योंकि मुझे अपनी शीट पे तो जीरो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना, नहीं तो कैसे बात बनेगी? मैं प्लस 64 लिख के तो नहीं छोड़ सकता। समझ आई बात? तो यहां तक ट्रांजैक्शन अलग थी, यहां तक सिंपल है, प्लस मींस कमिंग इनटू इंडिया, माइनस शोज गोइंग आउट ऑफ इंडिया। जब रिजर्व्स की बात आएगी देन आई हैव टू राइट लाइक दिस, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली आई हैव टू सम इट ऑल टू से जीरो, तभी तो बैलेंस होगा। हाउ एल्स विल इट गेट बैलेंस्ड? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ बैलेंस आशीष? मीनिंग ऑफ बैलेंस इज जीरो। रिमेंबर मैंने बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स आपको शुरू में कैसे बताया था? व्हाट इज बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स? करंट अकाउंट and capital account. I have to balance these two. It is just an accounting convention. ये एक accounting की convention है बस। कभी आप देख के कंफ्यूज ना हो कि नेगेटिव लिखा है, इसीलिए मैं आपको इतनी डिटेल में बता रहा हूं, नहीं तो हम इसको याद भी कर सकते थे कि यहां पर नेगेटिव लिखते हैं, बट यू शुड नॉट गेट कंफ्यूज व्हेन यू रीड इट इन द न्यूज़पेपर। समझ आया? It is an accounting exercise. I have to balance and show finally as zero. I have to balance and show as zero. For this, I have to follow this convention here. मुझे ये करना ही पड़ेगा. There is no other way, and we have proven this. समझ आ गया? Done. This is just for purposes of accounting. ये सिर्फ अकाउंटिंग पर्पस के लिए है कि यहां पर नेगेटिव लिखा है. This is just for purposes of accounting. चलो. Now, यहां देखो दो तरह की इन्वेस्टमेंट लिखी है, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट, फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट। इन दो इन्वेस्टमेंट में डिफरेंस समझते हैं। लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन एफडीआई एंड एफपीआई, फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट। इस पे भी कम से कम 2-3 बार प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन आ चुका है, डिफरेंस बिटवीन एफडीआई एंड एफपीआई। I invest in Reliance. First option is, इतनी इनमें एबिलिटी नहीं है बट अज्यूम कर लो that in the first case I buy 20% shares of Reliance. In the second case I buy only, let's say, 2 shares. Let's say 500 shares. 500 shares would also be, let's say, 0.0000001%. I buy 500 shares of Reliance. I buy 20% shares of Reliance. Understand the difference in my intention. In this case, what am I trying to do? मैं यहाँ पर क्या करना चाह रहा हूँ? I am buying these 500 shares for the purpose that I will buy these 500 shares. After I buy these 500 shares, whenever share price goes up, when share price goes up, I will sell these 500 shares. आज ये 1200 रुपए का शेयर है, 1200 का रहा नहीं होगा रिलायंस का शेयर, कंसिडरिंग स्टॉक मार्केट्स कहाँ पे हैं देखते हैं अभी। Let's say I have bought at 1200 and when it becomes 1800, I will sell. I will buy at 1200, I will sell at 1800. My investment here, last concept है, break मत मांगो, last है, we're just ending here. My investment here is a part of my portfolio. I have no intention to sit on board of directors of Reliance, right? I have no intention to become a board of director investor in Reliance. मेरी कोई इंटेंशन नहीं है कि मैं बहुत बड़ा स्टेक वो करूं, फिर उनका बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स में किसी को नॉमिनेट करूं, फिर कंट्रोल करूं, कंपनी के प्रॉफिट्स बढ़ाऊं. I simply want to keep it as part of my portfolio. When I see a profit, I will sell it. है ना? I don't want to do management. समझ आ रहा है? Is this clear? I don't want to do any sort of management in Reliance. आई मियरली वांट कि जब शेयर प्राइस बढ़ेगा मैं बेच दूंगा. लेट्स लुक एट द फर्स्ट केस नाउ. पहला केस देखते हैं. In this case, what is my intention? In this case, what is my intention? I want to actually sit on the board of directors of Reliance. I want to run this company. I want to control this company. मैं इस कंपनी में एक कंट्रोल चाहता हूं कि मेरी बात सुनी जाए, कि नेक्स्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज कौन सी लाएंगे. 20% इज ह्यूज शेयर होल्डिंग, ह्यूज. अंबानी जी की 40% है, ठीक है. ह्यूज शेयर होल्डिंग 20%. That I want to sit on Reliance board. I want to tell this is how we need to go forward. This is how we'll make profits. I want to get involved in the management of Reliance. मैं मैनेजमेंट में इन्वॉल्व होना चाहता हूं. I will bring new technologies to Reliance. I will try and increase Reliance profit. Basically, I want to manage Reliance. I want to be a part of their board of directors. I want to focus there. यहां पर I don't. यहां पर I am merely thinking of Reliance as something as my portfolio. The key difference here is how much control I want. What is the level of control I want? What is the level of control I want? Right? Now, it is very difficult to judge intention. हो सकता है मैंने 20% शेयर भी इस पर्पस से खरीदे हो कि मुझे बेचना हो. It is possible. It's very unlikely, but it is possible. It is very difficult to judge what is your intention. Right? What is your intention is very difficult to judge. कि आप किस intention से you are coming, this is very difficult to judge. है ना? हो सकता है मैंने 20% शेयर भी इसी इंटेंशन से खरीदे हो कि मुझे बाद में बेचने. I am just very, very, very rich. So for me, even this is like a portfolio. We have to judge control, but we can't judge investment. We cannot judge that. हम कैसे जज करेंगे? और कोई बताएगा तो नहीं मैं क्यों खरीद रहा हूं. No, we can't go and ask everyone, why are you buying this share? Are you buying it for control, or are you buying it for investment or for portfolio purposes? So for this reason, we set a numerical limit. हम एक numerical limit लगा देते हैं. This numerical limit has been proposed by the IMF. It is also given in our Companies Act of 2013. This numerical limit is 10%. This numerical limit is simply 10%. 10% is the numerical limit in this case. So if a foreigner comes and buys 2% of shares of Reliance, we will see the numerical limit and we will assume that he wants no control. हो सकता है इनको इतने में भी कंट्रोल चाहिए हो, but that intention we cannot judge. So foreigner comes and buys 2% shares. We will see the numerical limit. It is less than 10%. We will assume that no control is sought. He does not seek any sort of control. किसी कोई भी कंट्रोल नहीं चाहिए. They are doing it for the purposes of their portfolio. Versus a foreigner comes and buys 11% shares of Reliance. Even though this might be for the purposes of simply gaining money, we will assume, and most of the times this assumption is correct, we will assume that they want direct control of the company. When you want direct control of the company, you will bring in new technology, you will tell them how to do business, you will be focusing on increasing the profits. This first case is known as foreign portfolio investment. Foreigners investing for the purpose of their portfolio. This second case is known as foreign direct investment. Investment for the purposes of direct control. Investment for the purposes of direct control. समझ आया FDI FPI में फर्क? We cannot know what your intention is. It is impossible for me to know what your intention is. But we can have a numerical limit. Earlier there was no numerical limit. पहले हम यही चेक करते थे but we were finding out that it is almost impossible to judge intention. Now, key idea here is control, and we assume that there is a limit of 10%. Beyond 10%, you anyway get significant control in a company. Ab FDI is more than 10% shareholding, FPI is less than 10%. Let's read now. FDI is intention to exercise control. You are doing a long term investment. आप ऐसे नहीं कि आज शेयर खरीदे, कल प्राइस बढ़ जाएगा तो कल बेच दोगे, ऐसा नहीं है. And most 99.9% cases, if you are buying more than 10% shares, this will be true. So we'll assume it to be true. Long term investment. Now, FPI देखते हैं. FPI is less than 10%. No intention of control, only intention of portfolio and profit. FPI is known as hot money. 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 Hot money means it is very volatile. Somebody will buy today, sell tomorrow. People will keep buying on every day. There will be a lot of volatile. There will be heated. कभी भी आएंगे खरीदेंगे, कभी भी आएंगे बेच देंगे, बिकॉज उनको सिर्फ प्रॉफिट से लेना देना है, नोन एज हॉट मनी. नाउ व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? यार अब प्लीज एक सेकंड चार्ट बंद करते हैं. अरे आ रहा हूं ना लिमिट पे यार, एक सेकंड अब चार्ट बंद करते हैं. लेट्स limit of 10% does not mean कि 10% is all you can invest. This limit of 10% is not limit of investment. This is to check. This is limit to check कि आप कितने परसेंट ले रहे हो. To classify you, this 10% is to classify you as FDI or FPI. This is not limit of FPI or FDI. आपने 10% से कम खरीदे हैं, 10% से कम खरीदे हैं तो आप FPI, 10% से ज्यादा खरीदे हैं तो आप FDI. Characteristics of FDI are you have the intention to exercise control, you are doing long-term investment. Here there is no intention of long-term control. There is investment of only profit. You will sell today, buy today, sell tomorrow. जब भी आपका profit होगा आप बेच दोगे, known as hot money. Now, let's see limits and approvals. For the purposes of FDI, there are two routes. Either you are automatically approved or you have to take an approval. देखते दोनों समझाऊंगा. Either you have to take an either you are automatically approved या फिर you will have to take an approval. Limits are in various sectors. Limits are in various sectors. Limits are decided sector wise. If there is a company that is operating in telecom sector, there will be a limit here. If you are operating in banking sector, there will be a limit here. If you are operating in, let's say, defense sector, there will be a different limit here. In various sectors there are various limits. याद करो बैंकिंग में हमने क्या पढ़ा था? There is 49% automatic approval, 74% after approval. If you are a foreigner and want to have FDI into an Indian bank, till 49% it is automatic. 49% तक आप ऑटोमेटिक कर सकते हो, आपको किसी से परमिशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. आपको अगर 49% से 74% बनाना है, you will have to take approval. Who gives this approval? कौन देता है ये अप्रूवल? कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स, CCEA. कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स, द हाईएस्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग बॉडी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स इन द कंट्री. कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स. Who are the members of CCEA? ये आप मुझे बताओगे, मैं आपको नहीं बताऊंगा, पॉलिटी में पढ़ोगे. ठीक है. You are focusing on transfer of technology, growth of the company, long term profit increase. ठीक है. There is sector wise limit. Sectoral regulators are there. For example, banking में banking regulator decide करेगा, insurance में insurance regulator decide करेगा, defense में defense ministry decide करेगी. There are sectoral limits. Sectoral regulators will set various limits for various sectors as far as FDI is concerned. For example, defense में we say that through approval route in a defense company you can invest 100%. Through automatic route you can invest 74%. इंडिया की कोई डिफेंस कंपनी है You want to do a joint venture, you want to invest in 74%, 74% तक आपको अप्रूवल लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you want to completely come and open a new company here, 100% it should be foreign owned, then you need to take approval from whom? Approval from Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs will decide that you are actually working for India's purposes. आप इंडिया के फायदे के लिए काम करोगे, you will bring new technology to India, आप इंडिया का नुकसान नहीं करोगे. Approval route and automatic route. Now, FPI. FPI में अप्रूवल इज वेरी लेस कम्बरसम. ये तो बहुत मेजर अप्रूवल तरीका था. कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स में देयर आर कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स. प्राइम मिनिस्टर सिट्स इन कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स. आपको वहां से अप्रूवल लेना है. जब आपको कंट्रोल चाहिए, जब आपको इंडियन कंपनीज में एक्चुअली कंट्रोल चाहिए, व्हेन यू जस्ट वांट फॉर शेयर पर्पसेस, देयर इज अ लेस कम्बरसम अप्रूवल. इतना मुश्किल, कम्बरसम मींस डिफिकल्ट. नाउ द अप्रूवल प्रोसेस विल नॉट बी दैट डिफिकल्ट. देयर आर इंस्ट्रूमेंटल लिमिट्स. There are instrumental limits. Limits on various instruments. What are various instruments of investment? Bonds are instruments of investment. Shares are instruments of investment. Instrument of debt, instrument of ownership. How much bonds can a foreign investor buy? How much shares can a foreign investor buy? There are instrumental limits. कि आप इंडियन इकोनॉमी में कितने शेयर खरीद सकते हो, आप इंडियन इकोनॉमी में कितने बॉन्ड खरीद सकते हो, कितने गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स आप खरीद सकते हो. लिमिट्स ऑन वेरियस इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, नॉट लिमिट ऑन सेक्टर्स. एफडीआई में देयर विल बी सेक्टोरल लिमिट्स, यहां पर देयर विल बी इंस्ट्रूमेंटल लिमिट्स. हियर यू आर मियरली लुकिंग फॉर एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू अर्न मनी. इन केस ऑफ एफपीआई, फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टमेंट, ओनली सेबी एंड आरबीआई रेगुलेट. वहां पर बहुत मेजर रेगुलेशन था, हर सेक्टर का अपना रेगुलेटर है, फिर कैबिनेट कमिटी ऑफ इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स है. यहां पर सिंस यू आर ओनली लाइक अ पार्टिसिपेंट इन आवर कैपिटल मार्केट, यू आर मियरली अ पार्टिसिपेंट इन आवर फाइनेंशियल मार्केट, कैपिटल मार्केट एंड मनी मार्केट में आप बस एक पार्टिसिपेंट हो. यू विल गेट अप्रूवल फ्रॉम सेबी एंड आरबीआई, मेनली सेबी, थोड़ा बहुत आरबीआई, राइट. देयर विल बी लिमिट्स ऑन वेरियस इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स. जब करंट अफेयर्स देखेंगे तो सारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स की लिमिट्स भी देखेंगे. लिमिट्स ऑन वेरियस इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, नॉट लिमिट्स ऑन वेरियस सेक्टर्स. आपको ऐसे नहीं बोलेगा कि एग्रीकल्चर कंपनी के शेयर्स खरीदने हैं तो आप 10,000 शेयर खरीद सकते हो, अगर आपको बैंकिंग के शेयर्स खरीदने हैं तो आप 5,000 खरीद सकते हो. देयर विल बी लिमिट बेस्ड ऑन इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स, हियर देयर विल बी लिमिट्स बेस्ड ऑन सेक्टर्स. समझ आई ये बात? नाउ foreign portfolio investment is also sometimes called foreign indirect investment. Direct and indirect. This is usually done by institutional investors. Institutional investors कौन है? Like mutual fund companies, asset management companies, pension funds, insurance funds. Institutional investors do indirect investment. That is why either FII or FPI. Foreign indirect investment or foreign portfolio investment done by institutional investors. Foreign institutional investors are also called FII. ठीक है? Now, last thing that I will tell you today, last thing. If foreign institutional investors who have done indirect investment, they have done indirect investment for the purposes of making money. They are doing it for the purposes of making money. The moment they see that money can be made somewhere else, कहीं और पैसा कमाया जा सकता है, जैसे कि हमने ये देख चुके हैं हम ये पहले से, बॉन्ड प्राइसेस याद करो. The moment foreign indirect investors will think that money can be made somewhere else, what will they do? This is India's capital market. The moment they think that I will get better returns in American capital market, the moment they think we will get better returns in US capital markets, what will they do? They will take their money out from here and get the money here. There will be capital flight. capital flight from India. They will exit from here. They will exit from here. They will simply exit from here and they will go here. There is capital flight. There is capital flight. They will exit from here and they will go here. जब ये होगा, when money is being withdrawn from Indian capital markets, what is happening? If you want to withdraw money, you will have to sell your shares. आपको अपने शेयर्स बेचने पड़ेंगे, तभी तो आप पैसे लगा लोगे. आपने यहाँ पे पैसे लगा रखे हैं, कुछ शेयर्स ले रखे हैं. You sell your shares, take your money and take your money to this market. You sell your shares, take your money to this market. Yes, यही हो रहा है capital flight. This is exactly what capital flight is. ये देखो, why foreign investors are exiting India. ये देखो, read this. HMPV scares. Sensex Nifty crash over 1.5% amid foreign fund outflows. Foreign fund is getting outflown. There is capital flight. Let's read this article. इससे clear हो जाएगा. Read this. Read this headline. Sensex plunges. Sensex plunges. अरे बंद करो notifications यार. Sensex plunges 7.5% in a month to below 80,000. Record FII outflows in October. समझ आया क्या हो रहा है? हालत खराब है इस टाइम पे सेंसेक्स की. Today it has still some recovery is seen, but generally it's been a bad shape. देख रहे हो? समझ आया? कैंसर is the concept clear? समझ आया क्या हो रहा है? So now this is the last concept I had to teach you. ठीक है, this is the last concept I had to teach you. Tomorrow's class is mainly going to be theory. That's going to be the last class. It's mainly going to be theory. I will still explain everything. Of course, I will still explain everything. But it is broadly theory. इसमें कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा समझने का बचा नहीं है. We have understood everything. In tomorrow's class, just the theory, and I will tell you what to read. थोड़ा सा I will expect you to read also. But broadly, we have finished everything. We have finished all the concepts. I hope you have enjoyed this. बाकी farewell की बातें कल करते हैं. ठीक है? Thank you for your patient listening. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m.